After the successful editions last year, the ETNow.in Realty Conclave and Awards returns to spotlight the leaders shaping India's urban future. Western India is witnessing a real estate renaissance driven by luxury housing, commercial expansion and sustainable urban development. A powerful ecosystem of architects, developers, designers, planners and infrastructure pioneers is redefining lifestyle spaces and cityscapes. With policy-driven momentum and a thriving investment climate, the region is poised to lead India's next real estate revolution. ETNow.in brings together the change makers, innovators and industry leaders to explore bold ideas, address challenges and unlock transformative opportunities. Celebrating excellence, inspiring innovation, shaping tomorrow's cities. Welcome to the ETNow.in Realty Conclave and Awards West Edition.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome your host for the evening, special correspondent at Times Network, Pooja Jain.
Thank you. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, industry leaders and visionaries that are shaping the skylines of tomorrow. A very warm welcome to the ETNow.in Realty Conclave and Awards 2026 West Edition. I'm Pooja Jain. Now, Western India has always been more than simply a region. It's an idea built on ambition, resilience, and scale. And today it stands at the forefront of India's real estate transformation. So from luxury residences redefining opulence in Mumbai, to integrated townships, to green certified developments, and smart infrastructure reshaping urban life, Western India is not just growing, it's evolving, ladies and gentlemen. And fiscal year 2025 marked a defining moment, with luxury housing sales, of course, surging and investor confidence reaching all-time highs. Backed by a strong policy environment and a booming investment climate, this region, as you're well aware, is well on its way to becoming a powerhouse of sustainable, future-ready development. And that is precisely why we're gathered here this afternoon. The ETNow.in Realty Conclave and Awards is a platform that brings together the finest minds in the ecosystem, such as yourselves, that are leading real estate developers, architects, interior designers, urban planners, and infrastructure pioneers, that are collectively exchanging bold ideas, addressing real challenges, and exploring opportunities that will absolutely transform the next decade of Indian real estate. But before we move ahead, I'd like to simply take a moment to acknowledge our partners in this effort who've made this landmark gathering possible. Ladies and gentlemen, this conclave is powered by Adani Ambuja Cement. Huge round of applause for them, please. Our home loan partner is LIC Housing Finance Limited. Online realty consultant partner is Roof and Floor. Our celebration partner is Radico, Spirit of Excellence. Our digital outdoor partner is Add-on Mo. And our publicity partner, ladies and gentlemen, is Pranav Publicity. A collective round of applause, please. I believe it's deeply deserved. And ladies and gentlemen, as we begin today's deliberations, it's only fitting that we start with a voice that plays a pivotal role in shaping Maharashtra's legislative vision and urban future. So Maharashtra has long been a cornerstone of India's real estate and infrastructure growth, driven by, of course, progressive policy thinking, driven by institutional reforms, and a strong focus on sustainable urban development. And at the heart of this momentum is leadership. Leadership that understands the balance between growth, governance, and long-term impact. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and pleasure to invite our chief guest on stage, a distinguished leader whose role is instrumental in steering legislative discourse and policy direction across the state. Please join me in welcoming Shri Nahul Narvekar, Honorable Speaker, Maharashtra Legislative Assembly. Huge round of applause, please. And I'd request Shuchi Shukla, editor, timesnow.in, to join us on stage in presenting our chief guest a small token of our appreciation. Thank you, sir, for being here. We're truly honored and deeply humbled. And with that, over to Shri Rahul Narvekar. Sir, we ask that you kindly please do address our August gathering. Huge round of applause, please, for our chief guest.
A very good afternoon to everyone present here for the ETNow Realty Conclave and Awards 2026 West Edition. It's indeed a moment of pleasure to be a part of a function which not only defines the economic growth of the country, but also stands for satisfaction of aspirations of thousands and lakhs of Indians. At the outset, let me congratulate ETNow and the Times Network Group for taking up this cause, this topic and this sector to celebrate and to honor individuals and entities who have contributed significantly not only to the growth of the Indian economy, but have also contributed significantly to bettering the lives of millions of Indians. Having said that, as we are aware, under the able leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, India stands to be the fourth largest economy in the world today, and by 2027, we are projected to be the third largest economy in the world. By 2047, India shall be a fully developed country, and therefore, with this kind of progress, with this kind of growth, the aspirations and the expectations of the common man have certainly risen to a level which has put even more responsibility on this sector, which is the real estate sector. Today, you've seen the growth rate in India. We are amongst one of the top growing economies in the world. We, for the last several years, have grown at the rate of over 6.5–7% per year. And this is largely contributed to the real estate sector as well. As we are aware that India is gearing up, shaping up, and adding its infrastructural strength day after day. To give you an example of my home state, Maharashtra, in the last 5 years, you must have seen Maharashtra's infrastructure capabilities growing leaps and bounds. Maharashtra's capital expenditure on infrastructure has doubled, if not more. You have seen the landmark Atal Setu, the sea bridge, which is one of the longest sea bridges in the country, in Asia, which connects Navi Mumbai to island city of Mumbai. This bridge not only opens a huge avenue of opportunities to consumers, but also offers a gateway of opportunities to real estate players as well. Huge landmass being available, at a distance of less than 25 minutes from Mumbai. This indeed has significantly contributed to the development of the city and the state at large, but also has significantly helped elevating the lifestyle of fellow Mumbaikars and residents of Maharashtra. With that, Mumbai being an island city which runs north to south and south to north has very limited scope for development insofar as new roads, new railway networks and new metro network. Despite all the odds and challenges, you have seen how the government of the day has worked relentlessly towards providing world-class infrastructure to this city. We've seen the grand coastal road that connects the tip of Mumbai, which is Nariman Point, to Bandra and to the airport as well, which is now going to be extended right up to Warsaw, and then in a couple of years, you'll see it connecting right up to Vasai, Virar, Nalasopara. And therefore, now distances which would take 2 hours to cover can be covered in a space of about half an hour. You've seen the metro network that has been created in Mumbai, which connects the entire city in minutes. Today, if you have to take a ride to the airport from Nariman Point, you have an option of using the coastal road. You can use the Metro Line 3, which is a brilliant opportunity for commuters. With less than about 20-25 minutes, you reach the airport. So all these infrastructure additions to the infrastructure capabilities of Mumbai has certainly contributed significantly to the real estate sector, where new markets are opening up, where new opportunities are opening up for developers, which perhaps were not tappable some time back because of lack of infrastructural development. So the government is working in tandem with this sector, creating opportunities and facilities for the development of this sector in areas which were not tapped in the past. Having said that, Mumbai has always been known for quality homes. We've had one of the largest corporates and developers in the country who house their business out of Mumbai. And this has certainly made in Mumbai and developers from Mumbai the flagship companies and flag bearers of real estate industry in the country. Having said that, Mumbai is not only known for its luxury apartments, it's also known for its low-income housing, and a city that offers, a sector that offers housing to the poorest of poor, to the richest of rich in the country. Therefore, the real estate industry, like I said, has had an unparalleled contribution to the growth and development of the country. This industry is estimated to grow at unparalleled levels in the times to come. This industry is not only growing in Mumbai, but is also growing significantly in second-tier and third-tier cities of Maharashtra and the country at large. We've also seen a huge market for second homes. With the growth in economy, we've seen a huge market for second homes in the country as well. We've got areas like Alibag, Karnala, Karjat, and nearabouts in MMR region, which have developed significantly over the past 5 years. And this is just to continue. I believe this is just the tip, and this is just the beginning of a huge story to unfold. And the people sitting here today are going to be responsible for the growth of this sector and providing affordable housing, luxury housing to different segments and different sectors and different sections of the society, offering a plethora of opportunities to investors as well as consumers in the days to come. Having said that, I would like to once again convey my best wishes to the participants in this sector, to the players in this sector, and needless to state, to the groups like the ETNow and the Times Network, who have extended their support to this structure, to this sector, by honoring people who have significantly contributed to the growth of this sector, who have excelled in working for the betterment of the housing sector and the real estate sector in the country. Needless to state, the commercial markets and the commercial sector as well in the real estate sector has also grown significantly in the city of Mumbai, and making in Mumbai the commercial capital which it has been only possible because of quality commercial spaces which have been offered by the real estate sector. Friends, I would like to congratulate all the awardees today who have excelled and achieved for themselves this award out of sheer hard work. Friends, needless to state, and before I conclude, I would like to specifically mention that the real estate sector and the industry that you all belong to not only shapes the skyline of a city or the skyline of a country, but you all are responsible for shaping the skyline of Indian minds and expectations. Therefore, a huge deal of responsibility casts upon your shoulders. I am sure in the days to come, you will fulfill the aspirations of fellow Indians by providing good working spaces, good living spaces. I would like to thank you for having me here. As the Speaker of the State Legislature, I would like to assure each one of you all that we shall leave no stone unturned to ensure that we legislate laws, which we formulate laws which are for the betterment of this sector, which are for the betterment of the consumers, which are for the betterment of developers, where we create a win-win possibility for the developers as well as the consumers in the times to come. My best wishes and fullest support to the sector in the coming years. Thank you once again for having me here. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
All right, to the Honorable Speaker. Sir, I ask that you please remain on stage with us for a few moments longer, sir. And I collectively want to offer our chief guest and our Honorable Speaker a huge round of applause for those inspiring and heartfelt words. Now, the ETNow.in Realty Conclave Awards 2026 West Edition is about saluting and celebrating real estate excellence. As, you know, our honorable chief guest just alluded to a short while ago. So in his presence, I'd like to take the opportunity to present our first set of highly coveted awards for the afternoon. And sir, thank you for doing the honors. With that, I will announce the category and I will announce the winner and ask that they please join us on stage to receive this highly coveted honor from the Honorable Speaker himself, Shri Rahul Narvekar. With that, our first category, ladies and gentlemen, is Most Promising Upcoming Developer of the Year. And the winner is Alpha Corp. Can we please have the Alpha Corp team on stage, please, to receive the honor? Our heartfelt congratulations once again on this incredible achievement. Most Promising Upcoming Developer of the Year. Keep the applause coming, ladies and gentlemen, for your fellow colleagues. And with that, we move on to our next category, which is Excellence in Real Estate Advisory. And the winner is M Space Realty. Can we have the M Space Realty team on stage, please, to accept the honor? Excellence in Real Estate Advisory. All right, we'll move on, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, our next category this afternoon is Fastest Growing Realty Brand. And the winner is, ladies and gentlemen, Aspect Realty. If we could have the Aspect Realty team on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, excellence is not claimed, it's earned. Bridging tradition while building tomorrow. So this award honors a journey that's shaped by vision, scale, and consistent excellence in delivery. We're proud to present once again the fastest growing realty brand to Aspect Realty, and Aksha Kamboj is now on stage to receive the honor. With that, we move on to our next category at the ETNow Realty Conclave Awards 2026 West Edition. And that category is India's iconic real estate brand. And it goes to Roosevelt Realty. Let's have the Roosevelt Realty team on stage, please, to accept the honor. India's iconic real estate brand. All right. We'll move on in the interest of time to our next category, ladies and gentlemen, which is Global Visionary in Sustainable Development. And this award, Global Visionary in Sustainable Development, goes to Captain Pradeep Singh, founder and chairman of Karma Developers. Can we have the team on stage, please, to receive the honor? Congratulations once again to the Karma Developers team for Global Visionary in Sustainable Development. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to our next category, which is Global Expansion and Innovation in Real Estate. And it goes to, we've got a repeat winner, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Navneet Mandani, founder and CEO of Karma Developers. Let's have the team back on stage to receive the honor, and congratulations on the double victory here at the ETNow Realty Conclave Awards West Edition 2026. A few more awards, just a couple more before we have to relinquish our chief guest. So with that, the next category, ladies and gentlemen, is Excellence in Redevelopment Projects, and it goes to Sangvi Realty. Can we have Mr. Pakshal Sangvi, Managing Director, on stage to receive the honor? Congratulations once again to the Sangvi Realty team. Excellence in Redevelopment Projects. And with that, we move on to our next category, ladies and gentlemen, which is Excellence in Real Estate Sales Technology. And it goes to Tata Realty and Infrastructure. So if we could please have Mr. Sarthak Seth, Senior Vice President and Chief Sales and Marketing Officer at Tata Realty, kindly do receive the honor. Congratulations once again to the Tata Realty and Infrastructure team. All right. Next category is Iconic Luxury Commercial Project, and it goes to Cygnus. Can we please have Mr. Rachit Gupta of Chalet Hotels, K. Raheja Corp, VP Marketing and Sales, on stage to receive the honor. All right. And the last award, before we have to let go of our chief guest, Sri Rahul Narvekar. He has another prior commitment. But the last award, ladies and gentlemen, is Best Sports Infrastructure Award. And it goes to Super Sports Park. If we could have Abhishek Jain, please join us on stage to receive this highly coveted honor from the Honorable Speaker himself. Congratulations once again to the entire Super Sports Park team for Best Sports Infrastructure Award. Congratulations once again, and huge round of applause once more for our chief guest, Sri Rahul Narvekar. Thank you so much for being here, sir. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, as we move ahead, it's time to deep dive into a critical conversation that sits at the very core of real estate transformation. And that's policy. So from regulatory reforms and urban planning frameworks to incentives for sustainable housing and large-scale redevelopment, policy shifts today are not just influencing projects. They are reshaping the way cities grow, live, and breathe. So our next session, which is Policy Shifts Reshaping Urban Housing, it will explore how evolving government policies, market dynamics, and investor sentiment are absolutely redefining urban housing across Western India, and what this means for developers, home buyers, and the future of our cities. Well, to steer this conversation, we have with us a moderator who brings deep industry insight and a sharp understanding of the real estate ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could please invite on stage my colleague and senior news editor with the Times Network, Sumit Lakhutia, who will be spearheading this critical conversation. And now, if I could please introduce our esteemed panelists who will be joining us in this discussion. We've got Mr. Ghulam Zia, Senior Executive Director, Knight Frank. Sir, I ask that you kindly do join us on stage. Yes, thank you. We also, joining him, Mr. Vikram Mehta, Managing Director of Mesacon. Mr. Ashok Mehra, founder and chairman of Shikara Constructions, Mr. Chaitanya Seth, partner of EY Parthenon, and Mr. Pakshal Sanghvi, managing director of Sanghvi Realty. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a power-packed panel in front of us to share their perspectives from their personal and professional journey alike. And with that, we'll now do a deep dive on policy shifts reshaping urban housing. And I hand it over to my very capable colleague, senior news editor with the Times Network, Sumit Lakhutia. Sumit, the floor is yours. And before we deep dive into this discussion, we've got a missing wallet here. So if someone would like to claim it, kindly simply meet me backstage. All right. I've understood whose wallet it is, so if the gentleman could kindly please join me on stage, I'm happy to hand it over. Perhaps. Okay. All right. And can we have the mics on stage, please? I think we're missing the mics. Let's quickly do that so we can dive right in. We definitely want to do justice to the conversation. Okay. Yes. All right. I think we're good to go. We have everything we require in what promises to be a power-packed conversation with a lot of debate, a lot of deliberation, and perhaps even differences of opinion. So with that, policy shifts that are reshaping urban housing.
Check. Finally.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. I heard Ghulam's point of view. You didn't hear. Ghulam's like, we're too many loudmouths on the panel, and maybe that's why they put off the mics. But no, I'm sure we're not loudmouths, but I know that maybe besides me, we have 4 experts here on the real estate sector, which everyone does want to hear about. Context was set by Pooja. I won't get into a lot of more details because let's hear from the experts. Policy, of course, really, really important. We had Mr. Rahul Narvekar here talking about, well, he spoke about some of the important projects like the Atal Setu, the Coastal Road, and of course, reassuring us that the way ahead with the Maharashtra government is that they will be promoting more and helping this sector grow. With that, in fact, Ghulam, I'd like you only to kick off the conversation here. Your thoughts on, policy, because, it's important. Real estate is not a short-term business. Let's be honest. Whoever is making something, whether it's a house, it's an office, it's an industrial plot, it's roads, it's for the long term. Importance of policy, obvious, very important to have that continuity, to have that peace of mind that yaar aise nahi hai ki aaj policy ye hai 6 mahine baad badal jayegi and then where will I go with my building. Your cues that you are seeing from the policy announcements that are happening, what are some important points that you kind of tick off or keep in mind saying, yeah, okay, this is good for the overall sector? Just wanted your initial thoughts on that.
Thank you so much, ETNow, for calling me on this platform. It's an honor to be here and express our views on these platforms. I'm sure all of us would share those thoughts. Policy making and policy makers have a huge role to play in not just real estate, but overall growth of a country, economy, and so on. And talking, since the subject here is real estate has always been driven completely by the kind of policies we make. I recall about 20 odd years back, where there was a little chaos. A lot of policies were required to be made. And there came, whether you call it RERA, that is regulator, or GST, or a lot of those initiatives came in. And what we see today is a different real estate industry altogether. I recall 2005, if I'm not mistaken, Press Note 2 came in, where foreign direct investment was allowed in the country. But that was a haphazard step forward, where investors who came had no clarity on how to invest, where to invest, the guarantee of their investments not going bad. Nothing was there. They just came in on a blind faith, and most of them burned their fingers. They lost their shirt. So what changed later on? I would say last 10, 15 odd years, we have seen a huge policy shift. We have overall for the country, we've got much better policy framework. So where we are is a great place to be. As far as real estate is concerned, with a lot of uncertainties behind us, a lot of question marks eliminated, we are in a very, very open environment where we know what kind of business we are entering into. I recall those are the days when corporates were shuddering to get into real estate. I recall I started my career in a company called Tata Housing, and they initiated their business in 1987. And ever since, like for at least so many years, that company and one or two of those like Godrej and Mahindra's or quite a few others also came in and, didn't succeed and left the business halfway. Lloyd's was one of them. So for every Tata Housing, you will have at least 2-3 other corporates who came in and didn't make it. Tata's also is here because, they have long-term perspective, so they're here. So today, there is a better policy framework, so you have new names coming in, kinds of Birlas, Raymonds, etc. They are coming now. Arvind, this is the second coming of Arvind. They were in the business earlier as Lalbhai Realty when I started my career. They have come back again. So the environment is much suitable for better supply side players to come in. And overall, now where we are sitting in Mumbai, the development plans, etc., that are falling in place are also much better. Last about 4-5 years or odd years back, we got the UDCPR, which is actually giving the view of how do you create real estate anywhere in the state. So a lot of these initiatives are extremely crucial for sustainability of the sector. The sector itself is cyclical. I'm sure everybody knows that. So whenever there is a downturn, I guess we are right now reaching the peaks of the cycle. But whenever we are going through the tough time, a proper policy framework is something which comes to rescue of the sector. In absence of that, there were hundreds and thousands of people like us, the commoners, who bought houses and never get those houses, etc. Even today, while we have a great policy framework, but still we have a lot of those people who have put in their money and not getting their house. Supreme Court is sitting on so many cases, solving them. So all that is legacy of I don't know to call it Jungle Raj, but that was a situation when there was no system, no policy, nothing, or at least it was fractured. Today we have a great policy framework that comes in handy to ensure that not just stakeholders, the supply side stakeholders, but even on the other side, the buyers, their interests are well taken care of.
That's most important because, let's be honest, in India, whatever the way the economy has changed, सबको अपना एक घर तो चाहिए एक घर तो चाहिए छत अपनी होनी चाहिए उसके बाद दूसरा second house, third house, vacation house, that's a different part. I'll come to both the builders, developers here before I come to Chaitanya, but first I'll come to Mr. Mehra. Sir, one thing, I stay in Mumbai, and Mumbai में आजकल अलग ही एक redevelopment की हवा चल रही है. There's a lot of talk of redevelopment in Mumbai. Every lane you go to, every lane you go to, there is a redevelopment project. Every area you go to, there are multiple redevelopment projects happening there. Just your thought that taking on from where Gulam left about the impact of the policy
on these projects, which will also be, which has to be reassuring for the developer as well as the resident. How are you seeing things happening where you sit with Shikhara Constructions?
As per me, after the DCPR 2034, as Jia said, is everything is excellent. I mean, now there is a clarity. Clarity is there, how to do the redevelopment and all. I mean, but I still feel कि क्या बोलते हैं मतलब कि ये जो हम लोग को जो डिस्काउंट दिया था उन्होंने 50% क्या बोलते हैं मतलब गवर्नमेंट ने जो कोविड के टाइम पे 50% डिस्काउंट दिया था, मतलब इसके जो भी पैसा भरना पड़ता है, जो भी हम लोग को एक्स्ट्रा एफएसआई खरीदने के लिए जो भी पैसा भरना पड़ता है उसके प्रीमियम के ऊपर जो 50% डिस्काउंट दिया था, तो मेरे हिसाब से अगर वो एक दो साल के लिए वो फैसिलिटी अगर गवर्नमेंट देगी तो जो भी स्टॉल्ड प्रोजेक्ट हैं जो काफी टाइम से रुके हुए हैं वो प्रोजेक्ट भी मतलब वायबल हो जाएंगे, लाइव हो जाएंगे। मतलब क्या बोलते हैं मतलब मैं ऐसा, दिस इज व्हाट इज माय सजेशन कि भाई जो तो देन आई थिंक देयर विल नॉट बी एनी डिले ऑफ दी क्या बोलते हैं मतलब प्रोजेक्ट का भी डिले होने की संभावना कम हो जाती है। तो मैं गवर्नमेंट से तो यही रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि भाई आपकी पॉलिसीज आर एक्सीलेंट, एवरीथिंग इज एक्सीलेंट, ओनली थिंग इज दैट कि भाई अभी अगर आपको बिल्डर लोगों से फास्ट पेमेंट चाहिए तो मैं ये रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि जो डिस्काउंट कोविड के टाइम पे दिया था वो डिस्काउंट आप 50% एक साल के लिए दे दो तो जितने भी स्टार्ट प्रोजेक्ट है वो भी हो जाएंगे। और दूसरा जो देर आर सेवरल प्रोजेक्ट 37B में पॉसिबल नहीं हो रहे, मतलब एवरीबडी नोज अबाउट दैट कि देर आर सेवरल प्रोजेक्ट इन मुंबई पार्ट तो जो कि 37B में पॉसिबल नहीं हो रहे, फाइनेंशियली मतलब वायबल नहीं हो रहे, और वो लोग द बिल्डिंग्स आर मोर देन 50 years ओल्ड। तो उनमें हमारा रिक्वेस्ट तो यही रहेगा गवर्नमेंट को कि भाई जो 37B में काफी प्रोजेक्ट है जो स्टार्ट हो गए पड़े हुए हैं, तो उनमें मतलब वो गवर्नमेंट को सोचना चाहिए कि भाई कुछ मतलब कोविड जैसा 50% डिस्काउंट जो एक साल के लिए दिया था वो ऐसा कुछ करेंगे तो बट रीडेवलपमेंट हो फिर मतलब विल गो इन अनदर लेवल, रीडेवलपमेंट विल रीच टू अनदर लेवल।
वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड सही है सर, क्योंकि जैसे द पॉइंट इज व्हाट गुलाम आल्सो स्पोक अबाउट, जो पुराने मतलब बायर्स थे जिन्होंने उनके घर प्रोजेक्ट्स अटके हुए हैं वो जरूरी है कि वो भी निकले। इट्स नॉट यस न्यू प्रोजेक्ट्स कमिंग अप दैट्स ग्रेट, बट जो पुराने हैं वो भी क्लियर होते रहे।
पुराने भी ये अगर फैसिलिटी अगर गवर्नमेंट देगी तो पुराने भी वो जो स्टार्ट है वो भी ऑटोमेटिकली निकल जाएंगे ना, बड़ी बिकॉज देर आर स्टिल सेवरल प्रोजेक्ट्स इन मुंबई एरिया विच इज नॉट फिजिबल टू डू इट ऑन 37B में पॉसिबल नहीं है। तो वो अगर प्रीमियम कम होता है तो डेफिनेटली क्या बोलते हैं मतलब डेफिनेटली द जो भी स्टार्ट प्रोजेक्ट है जो लोग सफरिंग कर रहे हैं जिनको प्रॉपर टाइम पे घर नहीं मिल रहा है उनको भी मिलना शुरू हो जाएगा।
जी Pakshal, I'll just now come to you. The other point is that, yes, policy is important, etc., etc. But what are your thoughts on how has a strong policy, a consistent policy helped as a developer, helped in project planning, the pricing strategy, also the launch decisions for mid-sized developers. Like you decide this is the kind of project, this is the area that we'll go in. Your thoughts on that?
First of all, I would like to thank ETNow to invite us and have a discussion on this topic. So, if you go to see, policy changes don't only impact the project, but it changes the complete feasibility of the project in redevelopment especially. So, I'm an architect myself. When we sit on the board, पहले ये होता है कि यार इस पे FSI बिठा दो. So, the planning is not on how you would design the building or what more you can offer to the customer, but कैसे भी FSI बिठा दो, BMC के laws के हिसाब से building बिठा दो, ये open space छोड़ दो, then you start finding design elements, clubhouse डाल दो, rooftop terraces. But I think that shouldn't be the approach being an architect. I worked in London, US, so what approach is necessary is to have a consistent policy. What happens here is, there is a policy now, but in 6-8 months, the policy will be impacted by the incoming people or certain changes in the government. So that really takes a back step as a developer for me. So project planning point of view, but the other good thing what I've noticed is since 33-9 or cluster development has come into picture, we've got a bigger parcel to play with. So there's a better planning, there's a better product, there's a premium on everything which can be offered to the customer. From the pricing point of view, what we at Sangvi do is, let's say we know the cost. The other good thing is we know everything beforehand. The fungibles are fixed, the premiums are fixed, the infra cost is fixed. So all your variables are fixed. So you know this is the cost. So now you know what you can sell at market rate. So what we do is we have the cost, we add our margin, which is our Sangvi margin, and then we sell the project at that price. We don't care what the surrounding price is. For example, our sales team tells us, so you should look at the pricing here is X. But I'm like, no, we can go below X because we want to sell the project on the launch itself, not wait to, have an inventory worth of X 100 crores after the project is done. Rather keep selling at regular stages and liquidating those projects and then completing those projects on timely manner. The other thing, what I've noticed during the launch, now pre-launch sort of things are not really happening right now. So as developers, we wait for the approvals, we wait for the IOD, we wait for the CC, we wait for the RERA to come in. Then only we go to the launch. So at that stage, the buyers are quite assured of the product, the approvals, the quality or the builder, which is going to build the product, under what timeline. Of course, there's a buffer taken by us developers, but there's a clarity on the stages of payment, there's a clarity on stages of construction. So I think the buyer is quite informed, and at that stage, when we have the RERA, we are quite confident that we will get a better result at the launch, rather than having a pre-launch and just assuring, sapne dikhana.
Exactly, sapne dikhana, but pure nahi karna. Chaitanya, I'll come to you now. I like what Pakshal said about RERA, which of course has been a landmark policy initiative. From a strategy and advisory lens, so, kind of zooming out, if I would ask you, which policy shifts do you think will have the most long-term impact on urban housing, more important on the economics of urban housing? Because somewhere, and I know people might not like it, but somewhere there is talk in the market where they say, like, महंगा है बहुत real estate in Mumbai. Again, I'm from Mumbai, so I've been here my whole life. But then otherwise, people also say that, look, if you look at compared to the international places, it's not that expensive. But at the end, when the buyer is signing that check, usko hamesha महंगा ही लगेगा. So your thoughts just on the policy shifts that can have a long-term impact on the economics of urban housing?
So, great question. If you look at the policy shift, right, what has happened is slowly and gradually, it is only strengthening the fundamentals. We talked about RERA, GST, REIT, all these are bringing a lot of fiscal and operational prudence. So transparency, accountability is increasing. So I would say a trust deficit industry is now probably taking small steps to gain trust. So I think that's a good side from a demand perspective. So that's one. Second, if you look at it from a long-term perspective, it is today you look at the budget, you look at the policies, it's more towards infrastructure. So infrastructure-led urbanization is going to be the way forward. Today you look at the corridors, you look at intercity connections which are being happening, rails, metros. So from a pin code spending, from where the developers are looking at a pin code kind of a growth, they'll move towards more toward transits and corridor or node-related growth. So I think that's what's going to kind of define the next level of urban planning. Coming to an important point, right, affordable housing, and I think that's where PMAY started the entire concept that affordable housing karna hai. But if you look at it, that's policy, great policy, but the execution has not been up the mark. Probably in the last 5 years, it has dipped from 38% to nearly 18 to 20%. One of the key reasons is the clip levels. If I'm clipping at 45 lakh rupees, it doesn't really check the metro realities. Today, probably it worked very well in Indore, Surat, Ahmedabad. But look at Mumbai or Bangalore. It has not worked well because it has not looked at potentially the land cost and the construction cost thereby. And that's what probably we know that the real estate industry lobbying with the government to see that can we move that clip rate to 75 to 90 lakhs or increase the space. I think moment those kind of policy shifts, which probably over a period of time happens, it will again put a lot of supply and demand acceleration into the affordable housing space. So I think to me, if you look at it, fundamentally urbanization would be more led by infrastructure and some more probably re-looking at the policies or strengthening those policies, what we kind of put in the past, I think can reshape the entire urban landscape.
Fantastic. And Ghulam, just bringing you back into this conversation, because what Chaitanya also said on affordable homes, the affordable housing space. I don't think there was much in the union budget for that. But how do you see the importance of these policy interventions on bringing, I mean, how do we give more impetus to that space, to affordable housing? What more can be done? Because that is truly very much a need of the hour. Your thoughts on that?
Well, affordable housing is a big anathema, if I can say that. There is something people are talking about, and especially on this platform where you are going to be awarding the contribution of real estate developers. I don't want to sound very dead against developers, but I carry that grudge that they're not doing affordable housing. No amount of these excuses that 40 lakh or, all that, these are all simple excuses. They're not doing affordable housing is a reason. Let's accept it because you have low hanging fruits. आप 2 लाख रुपए स्क्वायर फीट का मकान बेच रहे हो, आपको कहाँ 2000 रुपए स्क्वायर फीट का मकान बेचने में इंटरेस्ट होगा? Let's take it. Developers, name after name I can give you, who have moved away from affordable housing in last 5 years because their malai दूसरी तरफ ज़्यादा है, तो आप यहाँ पे क्यों देखोगे? So these are all excuses कि 40 लाख से 45 लाख ठीक है, वो होना भी चाहिए, but then that is not the reason. That's just an excuse for you to not do affordable housing. And I'm sure a lot of developers sitting over here, very clearly and the message has to be sent across that they're not doing enough to do affordable housing. Now, about, I think, first week of December, Niti Aayog did a large conference where most of these industry bodies were there, right? From MCHI, CREDAI to NAREDCO, to you name it, all of them were there. Again, एक ही single point, bring this down. Government land दे यार, अपनी land पे तो affordable housing बनाना नहीं है. Government land दे, क्यों government land देगा भाई? आप खुद भी तो कुछ करो. So here, the PMA 2.0, which has come about a year and a half or odd back, I think October 2024 is when they came out with Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana 2.0. They came up with fantastic policy framework. But the problem is, in the meanwhile, nobody wanted to do affordable housing. All the names talk about, since one of them I have learnt my ropes from their Tatas. Were there in affordable housing? Not there anymore. Talk about Shapurji Palanji, almost not there. Brands and listed players, and this is something which I don't just kind of putting a blame. This is something on record when the MD of Signature Global did say this was a company which started on affordable housing, and they're not doing affordable housing anymore. So you don't have a developer who is doing affordable housing. And in the middle of all that, the demand, we are talking about numbers now, let's talk about number. PMA Urban, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, is talking about the demand in next 5 years, which is starting from 24 to 29, of 2 crore houses. And then to say that they haven't done enough is wrong, because in the first, PMA 1, they have delivered 1 crore houses. So to say they haven't done enough is wrong. Because you're sitting in Mumbai, because you don't see the impact of affordable housing that government has done in the rest of the country, you want to believe that they haven't done enough. Which is, sitting in your own small domain and armchair advisory saying government is not doing enough is not really the right way. Affordable housing is happening all over the country. And when we talk about affordable housing, there are various different ways government is contributing to the affordable housing. Only those who are sitting over here are not doing affordable housing, and that is one reason why we continue to talk about these on these platforms. Mumbai, now talking about what is affordable housing for Mumbai. Do you know, if I talk about the top 8 cities of country, which includes Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, etc., do you know about 35 to 40% of the inventory that comes in Mumbai, and I'm talking about MMR region, Mumbai metropolitan region, is below 50 lakh. Can you beat that? Nowhere, no country, no city in this country gives such a big contribution to below 50 lakh houses. Mumbai does it. And we are sitting in saying that 40 lakh, कुछ 90 lakh करो, बन तो रहे हैं, कोई ना कोई तो बना रहा है. So here, affordable housing is a big contributor. Actually, affordable housing is something which you need to really dig deeper into and understand. Just doing lip service, sitting over here saying that ye kam kar do, kam kar do, is not the right approach.
Okay, got your point on that. But I just want to take it a little ahead now with Mr. Mehra. Sir, अगर if we move on and now एक और चीज बहुत जरूरी होती है is the rights of the tenants or the rights of the, if we talk in redevelopment of the existing tenants और नए घर है तो the customers. What can be done to ensure that जो redevelopment हो रहा है उसमें both whether they are existing tenants get their houses in time ये वाला or whether the new buyers who might be putting in money जब project complete नहीं हुआ उसके पहले ही, how can we ensure that their rights are kept safe and they get what they are paying for within the time that has been agreed to?
सी आजकल तो क्या है, आजकल तो गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी बहुत क्लियर है. हेलो, क्या
हाँ जी, सो हाँ,
तो क्या बोलते हैं, मतलब आजकल गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसीज आर वेरी क्लियर. अभी जो टेनेंट्स होने दो या जो भी मतलब जो रीडेवलपमेंट में सोसाइटी जा रही है उनका तो P-AAA करना ही पड़ता है ना. अभी हम लोग परमानेंट अल्टरनेट अकोमोडेशन दैट आल्सो भी वो भी उसका भी प्रॉपर रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है. स्टैम्प ड्यूटी रजिस्टर करके वो डॉक्यूमेंट रजिस्टर करना पड़ता है. वो तो आजकल तो लोग खाली नहीं करते हैं जब तक उनका P-AAA नहीं होता है, परमानेंट अल्टरनेट अकोमोडेशन का एग्रीमेंट नहीं होता है, स्टैम्प ड्यूटी रजिस्ट्रेशन का. तो दैट इज द वेरी क्या बोलते हैं, गवर्नमेंट ने जो रूल बनाया है वो बहुत परफेक्ट है, मतलब इज वेरी गुड एंड दे आर सेफ. उनकी सेफ्टी है और उसमें भी मतलब लिखना पड़ता है कि आप प्रोजेक्ट कभी डिलीवर करोगे, ईच एंड एवरी टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस आर रिटन इन देयर. सो इसके ऊपर और क्या सिक्योरिटी हो सकती है, व्हाट मोर सिक्योरिटी कैन बी गिवन.
बट उसमें सर अगर कहीं डिले हो गया तो व्हाट इज द,
अभी डिले है तो देन वी आर आल्सो क्या बोलते हैं आंसरेबल. डिले हो गया तो द बिल्डर्स आर आंसरेबल टू द गवर्नमेंट, टू द कोर्ट्स और टू द महारेरा.
But is there more that can be done from policy perspective on this to help?
I think P-AAA is the best. गवर्नमेंट ने जो डिक्लेयर किया है वो बहुत अच्छा पॉलिसी है, क्योंकि आजकल तो लोग मकान ही नहीं खाली करते ना. पहले बोलते भाई मेरा पहले P-AAA करो, मेरे को स्टैम्प ड्यूटी रजिस्टर्ड ऑफिस में जाके P-AAA करो, उसके बाद में हम आपको जगह खाली करके देंगे. तो दिस इज मोर देन एनफ. और उसमें ईच इट इज जस्ट लाइक ए एग्रीमेंट. इट इज जस्ट लाइक ए सेल एग्रीमेंट, sale deed agreement. So nothing to, they don't have to be worried about that.
Got it. Pakshal, I just come to you on, again, from one part of policy is of course setting the rules, setting the way ahead. But a subset of that are the approvals, the compliance that you need. And, you know, I mean, do enlighten us how many approvals and compliances are required to get a building going. But in that, how have things changed? How can things be made better? Because on one end, India is moving up in the ease of doing business ranks, and the government's spoken about, and I'm talking now on a national level, spoken about one window clearance in different states, etc., for setting up new businesses. How can, in the real estate sector, that help? Because I do know that you need permissions from so many government authorities, approvals, compliances, which are ongoing. मतलब वो occupation certificate, CCJ, OCJ, all of that is required. Just give me your thoughts on that.
See, one thing you have to give credit to the government is there has been a structured framework in the approval in the last, let's say, 7 to 8 years. So you know which applications, which NOCs you have to take and what comes after what. The only thing missing right now is the timely approvals of those structured policies. So what's happening, I know I have to go to aviation and get an aviation remark. But let's say if there are complications, so then the time limit is not fixed. So what I would suggest is there should be a deemed approval like you have in other countries. There's a time limit, you either put a comment saying come with more details, or if there's no comment, deem approval and you can go ahead. So what happens is, see, we go ahead with all the positive planning, itne din mein ye aayega, this will take so much time, but then there are some uncertainties which we don't cater for. और उसकी वजह से क्या होता है, there are financial uncertainties or the risk. which we as a builder carry, जिसकी वजह से we cannot, make housing cheaper. Because there's a big interest cost in Bombay, big land cost, a big premium cost which you pay upfront. And then you're left in a limbo saying, oh, don't know, approval kab aayega, or how long do I have to wait for it? I'll give you an example. In my case, we've got all the approvals, but then there are, in South Bombay, in redevelopment, there are some estate-owned properties, MADA-owned properties. So you get an approval from BMC, then you have to go to estate to get the approval for further CC. In case of MADA, you have to go to MADA again to get a further approval for those CC. So there should be a single window clearance. The other thing, we as a developer, we've started to analyze risk in terms of, we know ye time lagne wala hai, ye financial planning lagne wali hai. Let's start designing apartments or houses according to the budget rather than hamare sapne. Okay, we'll sell a home worth that much. Let's come down to what the buyer demand is. The timelines are not going to change. You have to cater to everything, but you can do is something you can sell your homes faster. So it all comes down to the planning. And I think time is the only thing which is missing right now from the Bombay approval system.
So somewhere obviously helping developers get a kind of a finite timing roadmap which can help कि ठीक है 15 दिन नहीं 20 दिन 30 दिन but it shouldn't be 30 दिन का 90 दिन 180 दिन हो गया then everything goes for a toss.
Exactly.
Right. Chaitanya, while earlier Mr. Rahul Narvekar spoke about how the state government is gung-ho towards development in the state. While of course, so state level execution very important for any policy framework that is done, but how much of local governance do you feel is there critical for determining the success in the housing reforms? By way of, so if I'm saying, ठीक है, national level पे एक बात हो गई, state level पे एक बात हो गई, but if I am going out of Mumbai, if I'm going to smaller districts, smaller talukas, which are also coming up, the importance of that local governance there to give a push to the housing space there. Your thoughts on that?
So, I think I talked about, right? I think more and more infrastructure-led urbanization is going to be the key. And one other thing is also about, while we talked about the urbanization, it's also about strengthening the municipal finances as well. Many a times we have seen that there is a lot of demand, there is a lot of supply, but probably the water, the sewerage, the transit, all that is not in shape.
Yeah.
And it's about that fact that many times there are budgets, but they don't get executed in time. So it's important that we kind of strengthen that entire process and streamline that. So in my opinion, both municipal finance also needs to get kind of strengthened in terms of their source and application both put together. That is going to kind of make it far more livability. Because as you go far and far, I think that's where the entire purpose is, that's where the infrastructure is building. Today we talked about the Mumbai 3.0. That's where the entire infrastructure is getting built, and that's where the demand is also shaping up well. And that's where developers also now starting putting their entire portfolio to kind of ensure that they are able to capture the demand. So that's the way I'll put it.
Okay. Ghulam, I just want your thoughts. Actually, this is a common question for everybody. If you could recommend one policy reform that you feel could unlock the housing supply in Indian cities, what would it be and why?
The game changer. We have been talking about a lot of things that have happened for the sector in last so many years. So sector per se can't ask for more from government. It's the way I look at it. When people say that budget mein hona chahiye, these are all, and so many years nothing comes and we are fine, we are doing better every year. So we can't expect much from government except for one thing. And my expectation is the blockchain for land records is the key. Something which last year's budget had some small amount to at least focus on, create some policy frameworks, etc. But that is truly going to be the next big one. The moment we are getting into land records on blockchain, we have arrived. Till then, there are thousands of court cases in every case, every court, from session court to high court to everywhere. Typically कहा जाता है कि कोर्ट में जो भी मसले चलते हैं वो तीन चीज़ों पे चलते हैं, ज़र, ज़न, ज़मीन. बाकी दो को छोड़ दो, एक तो जमीन है. तो जो तीसरा है, almost 1/3 I would say and more are on real estate, which is essentially land. So the next big thing where we will never look back after that will be blockchain, land records. That happens, we will hit the big one.
But Gulam, it wasn't just, do correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think somewhere in India, maybe in one of the southern states or something, had they experimented with blockchain land records or not yet anything?
Various ULBs, urban local bodies, are experimenting in one way or the other. Well, we are not too badly placed. Like, at least in Maharashtra, most of our transactions are actually on all recorded digitally.
Yeah.
Every transaction that you do today is digitally recorded in Maharashtra. And again, something I don't know how many of you all know, Maharashtra is one of those states which has made it mandatory to register your transaction within 2 months of you doing that transaction.
Yes.
Most of the states don't do that. So you go to Haryana, you go to UP, you have a freedom. You can start with a builder-buyer agreement on which आप 500 रुपए का stamp duty भर के आप agreement बनाते हो, and then it is compulsory only when you're taking possession. So the actual transaction may have happened 6 years back, but it doesn't appear on your records. So Maharashtra is way ahead. So your point, many states are doing digitization of records. Gujarat is doing it, Maharashtra has done it, multiple states are doing it. But what I'm talking about is land record. Can you imagine every land in the country will be digitally recorded? And that is the that's the foundation of any kind of real estate. So today when I'm sitting over here, you are selling an apartment, I am buying it, at least that much part of it is safeguarded.
Yeah.
But the property on which that apartment which you sold to me is built is still not digitally captured. So most of your land disputes, or in fact developers are sitting over here, they will tell you that huge amount of time goes in legal due diligence of their project.
Yeah.
So while we are talking about single window clearance, everywhere you again hear the same similar thing. So everybody wants single window clearance, lekin usse pehle, unless you have legal due diligence done properly, all of that doesn't matter. The time that you spent in legal due diligence, you would have done to get all your approvals and permissions in place. So here, the key differentiator is going to be getting the blockchain activated for all your land records. And beyond that, it will be a heaven.
Okay. Pakshal, your thoughts? The due diligence taking up most of your time?
Yeah, totally agree with him. It's the due diligence which takes more than 2 to 3 years before working or starting actual financials or working on the project. The other thing is, I think we have the policies in place to make housing in Mumbai or Maharashtra affordable. It's just that timely execution of those policies. Everything is in place. I think there should be a mandate on time or deemed approval. It will automatically solve every problem, because we are sure we don't have to bear that extra burden of interest or extra rental cost or extra delay cost or rate escalation cost. So a timely window would be a great. The other thing is, if you give incentive for a design-led building, like how they give it in London, let's say, if you're giving back to the city, you might be given a discount on, let's say, some premiums by the government. So rather, let's not build concrete jungles, but let's start building homes for people who deserve to live in them.
Absolutely. Chaitanya, your thoughts, same thing. One kind of, one policy reform that you would recommend?
I think they've picked up what I was thinking about. I would genuinely believe time-bound single window clearance can make a lot of difference, because that really brings predictability to the entire market. That's one thing. I'll just probably take a slightly different thing. I think they've talked about policy, what I was thinking about. But even from a developer perspective, I think they also need to start embracing technology to drive the entire, because speed is the key. He talked about time, and time is translated back to the speed. How well you are adopting technology to kind of accelerate your entire land to launch cycle. While we talk about a lot of uncontrollables in terms of approval, which probably that single window time-bound approval can solve for, but there are a lot of controllables within the organization which also needs to be catered to. I think that's what probably so technology is an answer, which probably when Gulam talked about, be it blockchain as a technology, be it single window clearance, that's again a technology-led thing. The technology is an answer which probably will kind of disrupt everything.
All right, I will be taking these thoughts ahead because my next panel is on prop tech and innovation. But before we just wrap up, Mr. Mehra, your final thoughts. आपके हिसाब से कौन सी एक वो पॉलिसी रिफॉर्म होगी, अगर हो जाए तो इमीडिएटली हाउसिंग सप्लाई खुल जाए, विल बी एबल टू डू थिंग्स बेटर?
ये जो ओपन स्पेस डिफिशिएंसी है उसमें थोड़ा इम्प्रूवमेंट होना चाहिए, और जो पार्किंग का जो थोड़ा है उसमें भी थोड़ा इम्प्रूवमेंट होएगा तो मेरे ख्याल से ये हो जाएगा। बाकी तो सर ने जो बोला है वन विंडो क्लियरेंस, दैट इज द बेस्ट। और दूसरा उन्होंने आर्किटेक्ट साहब ने जो बोला कि भाई क्या बोलते हैं, आप जो भी ड्यूरेशन है समझो उनको अप्रूवल 2 महीने में देना है, अगर 2 महीने में नहीं है तो दैट शुड बी कंसिडर्ड डीम गिवन। मतलब अभी मतलब कुछ ना कुछ तो मतलब होना चाहिए ना, मतलब कि भाई क्या बोलते हैं, अभी बिल्डर्स लोगों के ऊपर भी इंटरेस्ट का भी बर्डन बढ़ता है ना, अगर अप्रूवल टाइम पर नहीं मिलेंगे तो उनको इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर भी मतलब इंटरेस्ट भी उनका ये होता है। तो बेस्ट पॉलिसी वही गवर्नमेंट से यही रिक्वेस्ट रहेगी कि भाई 1 सिंगल विंडो क्लियर जैसे सर ने बोला वो, अगर और जो भी अभी 2 महीने में अप्रूवल देना चाहिए, 2 महीने में अप्रूवल नहीं मिलता है या तो ऑब्जेक्शन डालो या फिर क्या बोलते हैं मतलब इमीडिएटली डीम ओके कर दो उसको, मतलब भाई हो गया।
Fantastic. Thank you so much to the panel. Important points coming out from here that hopefully if we can get deemed clearance within a fixed time with use of more of technology, especially the blockchain for digitizing land records and other parts of the real estate space, it would make things go faster, more trustworthy, and help for quicker, better development. A huge round of applause for my panel here this evening. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Gee. One more time. Zordar taaliyan ho jaye, please, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a group photo op. All right. Thank you so much. और सुमीत, मैं आपसे दरख्वास्त करती हूँ that you kindly please present each of our panelists with a token of appreciation, our way of saying thank you at the ETNow.in Realty Conclave Awards 2026 West Edition. So to Mr. Gulam Zia, Mr. Ashok Mehra, Mr. Chaitanya Seth, and Mr. Pakshal Sanghvi, thank you so much for being here and for sharing such a rich range of insights with our audience. These are the industry pioneers, ladies and gentlemen. Policy shifts reshaping urban housing. All right, our way of saying thank you. A small memento from the ETNow.in team. Huge round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you once again, gentlemen, for doing the conversation justice. Policy shifts, reshaping urban housing. So we're going to switch gears, ladies and gentlemen. And as Western India's real estate sector continues its upward momentum, the next phase of growth is being driven not just by land and by capital, but as Sumit mentioned, by technology, by innovation, and by new age thinking. So from prop tech platforms and data-led decision-making to smarter sales ecosystems altogether, digital customer journeys, and sustainable construction practices, the future of real estate is being built at the intersection of infrastructure and innovation. So our next session, Real Estate Outlook, Prop Tech, Innovation, and Future Opportunities, will explore exactly how technology is very much transforming the way real estate is developed, marketed, sold, and experienced, and where the next big opportunities lie for developers and investors like you. So to moderate this very forward-looking discussion, may I please invite back on stage my colleague and senior news editor of the Times Network, Sumit Lakhutia. Huge round of applause for him, please, as he guides us to this critical discussion. And joining him in this panel are industry leaders who are driving transformation across some of India's most influential real estate and prop tech organizations. So without further ado, Let me introduce our speakers for this session. We've got Mr. Sarthak Seth, Senior Vice President and Chief Sales and Marketing Officer with Tata Realty and Infrastructure Limited. Their team took away, a coveted award earlier in the afternoon. Then we've got Mr. Sumesh Mishra, who's the founder of Lighthouse PropTech. If I could please have him on stage. We've also got Mr. Rajiv Dash, Head of Sales and Marketing with Adani Realty. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we've also got Mr. Vikram Mehta, who's the Managing Director at Mesacon. He couldn't join the earlier conversation, but he'll be a part of this one. All right, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, our entire panel is now here and present. And Sumit, I ask that you please take it away. The floor is yours.
Check. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. We'll move on to this panel. Like I said earlier also, we were talking about, while we were talking about policy in the earlier panel, we did end on the point about the impact of technology, about the impact on blockchain, for example, in the real estate land records, as was suggested by Ghulam Zia. So, I'll start off, which also Sarthak, as he mentioned, he is initially started working at Tata Realty. So that is something I'm sure you and him can chat about later. But if you look specifically on this panel, and from the perspective, Sarthak, I'd like to start with you only, on how you're coming from a large developers space. How deeply is PropTech integrated into core business operations rather than just being support system, या सिर्फ नाम के लिए? I'm playing devil's advocate with you, but how important is it? How much is it included in the core of your functioning?
Okay, I think it's a gradual journey, if you'll ask me, in terms of integrating PropTech. And today, while we say integrating PropTech, I think it itself is an ecosystem. So I can actually say it's like if you would have asked me almost a decade back, I would have said exactly the same thing what you said, chalta hai. But today, I think without this, you just cannot do anything. It's an entire ecosystem. And when you look onto a real estate cycle, which is like from your land procurement to the last mile delivery to the CRM, I think PropTech is in every bit now. It is all about how the organizations are actually leveraging this in each and every step, so to say. So today, I don't know how many of the developers would be really taking PropTech into consideration while finalizing a certain land. A lot of them actually will come back and tell you that, okay, yes, we are investing quite heavily when it comes to sales and marketing as a function, because that is where people have really realized the real efficiencies in the game as of now. So it completely depends upon that what cycle you are in as a developer and how much you're invested into the technology per se. But what I would say is it's an integral part, and you just cannot do away with PropTech now. And in the long run, I believe most of the investments are going to be towards technology into real estate as well. So just to give you like a small context, because PropTech again runs very, very wide, because it is that you might have in the construction, probably you might be using those BIM models. In terms of sales and marketing, you might be using sales clouds, marketing clouds and everything. And there are a lot of other platforms, so on and so forth. But the evolution of real estate itself is like it's from a physical to digital. And again, tech is the next part of digital itself. So this model itself is very phygital now. So there are no more physical things which are there when it comes to real estate. Everything is phygital. So even the discovery starts from digital first, and then the physical thing really starts, right? So I think it's an integral part for all of us now.
Okay, I'll take this ahead to Sumesh. And Sumesh, your company name only has PropTech in it. But again, I'll play a little devil's advocate with you also. What is something that developers are underestimating about PropTech and that they should be focusing on, and that you feel people aren't focusing on?
Yeah, so as Sarthak said, we are trying, and the developers are taking efforts to bring innovation in terms of the various touch points with the customer. But, the one basic question which I ask everyone is, today if I ask you how many apps do you have on your phone, we all have 3 or 4 apps which are compulsorily there on our phone. One will be our banking app. Second will be our maybe a stock market or any stock trading or mutual fund trading related app. Third will be maybe a food delivery app. Fourth will be a cab or a taxi app on your phone. Now, every one of us, I think 50-60% of our net worth would be in real estate, or the major net worth of everyone, as the analysis says, 45 to 50% of our net worth of an individual in India, and even in the HNI segment, is in real estate. But how many of us have a real estate app on our phones? That, I think, clearly tells us that the B2C part is clearly missing in our industry. A lot of B2B initiatives have been taken between the developers, between the designers today, even the CRMs and other apps which facilitate the execution process between the developers and various vendors. But when it comes to builder to customer, the B2C app, we don't have anything right now. I think at most every one of us has a MyGate application, which is by default compulsorily there on our phones to facilitate entry or maybe security reasons, or maybe booking a clubhouse in our complexes. But apart from that, as real estate is growing towards a $1 trillion economy, our PropTech industry is still, some way, behind this, and may struggle to reach 100 billion in the next few years. One major reason is lack of initiatives on the B2C side. So at Lighthouse, we are trying to create various touch points where hopefully the usage of tech for the customers, and especially in the luxury and uber luxury segment, becomes a necessity rather than just a convenience or just an enabler.
Okay, that's quite an interesting take. You missed social media apps in your list of 4 and 5, but we'll leave that for a later conversation.
Yeah, that goes without saying, actually. That is, right now, probably the number one app.
Yeah, the most screen time is definitely social media. But yeah, I get your point on the real estate part, which is quite an interesting take, and definitely shows that there is an opportunity for somebody to come up with a great business idea in that space. Rajiv, just carrying on with you, from where you're seated with Adani Realty, how is technology reshaping the home buyer journey, particularly when these are these large scale projects that have scale, consistency at their core? How are you seeing technology changing or reshaping that home buyer's journey?
See, I think let's understand the category. I think it's part of the roti kapra makan, but still, there's a lot of aspiration to get that makan in a metro city. That's a category. And second part is that this is a product. I think this is the only category you don't see the product when you buy. You see the product after 4 years, 5 years, if you're lucky, and then you get the handover of the product. In a category which is not there, you are selling dreams. That's where the customer is looking for experience. And the experience is that something that if we can do it physically or digitally, customer is happy to get to the close to the reality. And when it comes to that experience part, I think today the developers, A-grade developers are doing very well in terms of making sure that the digital aspects are being taken care. Also, there is a mix of digital and physical, purely from the point of view what Sumesh was talking about. We have that opportunity in B2C to get more digital aspects in terms of connecting to the consumer end users. But one thing you have to keep in mind, this is a category which is bought once, twice, or thrice. Or maybe the investor rotates it, but that again also in limited number. So that's where the mobile app usage will be very less. And that's why you'll see the developers making the mobile app in the facility management side, where the usage is more. But today, if you see a lot of developers are making phygital aspects, as in we call it as phygital purely from the point of view, when you are selling or the pre-booking happens at the site, you have to give that experience of the product which is going to be ready in next 4 or 5 years. We put a physical scale model to explain the project and the product, but that is linked to the future through digital aspects. So if you get inside the physical model, you'll be able to see the digital aspects, how the future is going to be. So that combination, today I think the best way to explain the category is a phygital model. I think it's a mix of both. You cannot ignore physical, because I think at the end of the day, what Sarthak was talking about, the search, the discovery happens digitally. But that discovery gets into physical. You know, we are not able to push so much of sales digitally. There are NRIs who are selling it, or maybe 10 to 12% of customers are comfortable selling, you know, completely digitally, but that physical aspect is there.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
why as a developer, we spend time, money to create that experience at the site. And that experience, we have done a digital way of creating experience, and that is phygital. I think there is a lot of development which has happened on the real estate to make sure that commodity has become a branded category now. And today you'll see a lot of customers, they come, they experience the product, and the buying decision becomes easier for them. So what used to be 2 months, 3 months, I think it has come down to 30 days to 45 days. And that is where the digital is helping, because we have been able to give that experience through digital medium, through PropTech.
Correct, because I mean that first discovery digitally, but very, मतलब mostly आके वो दीवार देखनी है, आपका show flat देखना ही है लोगों को, to get that mix of digital and physical.
I think it's a touch. I think it's still that feel and touch aspect of, and showing it to my parents, my family, my relatives, I think that is still there. I think the referral.
It's, in a way, it is an outing to go see the flat that you want to possibly invest in. मतलब from a point of view कि पूरा परिवार आएगा.
Also the decision. I think it's not a one person who takes the decision. I think it's a family, or maybe it's a joint family, or maybe friends and family.
True.
So the decision is not easy to take in real estate. I think that's where it becomes.
Sarthak and Sumesh both picked up their mic, so I just want to know if you want to have any follow-up.
I think it's all about reassuring yourself when you actually go and want to do it physically also. It's all about reassuring yourself, because like on a digital platform, you will have a certain info, but till the time I don't go onto that piece of land, I don't go and see where exactly is the location, because until and unless, okay, you might see a lot of things on digital, but physical is something, it's all about reassuring yourself. So that is why it has to be a combination of both physical and digital.
Absolutely.
So I'll just add, as Rajiv said that, obviously it is a touch and feel business, but, during COVID, we saw that transactions, and India saw, I think the real estate sector got a big push during the COVID, where people were not able to go out, but they were having a virtual tour of properties, and they were actually closing deals. And you could see in the second and third leg of COVID that the deals started moving and the momentum started building up.
Just to add on the developer side, let me just, and probably Rajiv can add on to that. While we were closing the deals, but still there was a caveat that, okay, once the lockdown opens, please have a visit. Once you are assured that, okay, you want to continue with this booking, we are more than happy. But if you are not, if you want to cancel it, we are more than happy to give you 100% refund also. Right? So probably this is what Rajiv can also say. So we have sold, but again, that physical aspect comes into the picture.
100%, Sarthak. See, technology is an enabler.
Yeah.
And what happens is it gives you a convenience, starting from the touch point where you are able to compare various properties, from there on to do the technical due diligence, the legal due diligence, helping in the financial closure, that final decision making, and then the connect with the customer right from the booking to the possession, and from there on, a formation of the society or the condominium. That's a 4 to 5 year journey, as Rajiv said. So that during that 3 to 4 or 5 year journey, there are various aspects which the customer would want. And today it is happening through mails, through CRM teams, which are communicating the next payment schedule. They are giving the payment gateways for the next payments. I think, the day is not too far where the customer will have everything at a fingertip, where right from his first token or making up his mind from a virtual tour or a touch and feel finally once the decision is taken. From there on, his loan approvals, his payments, his possession timelines, the updates of the projects to the final possession, handing over to the society. I think developers are moving, the top developers have already started doing this in bits and pieces. I think by and large as a platform, for example, from our side also, we are trying to make an effort that, we give a full one-stop shop service across these, touch points for the customer, for enabling a easier and smoother transition.
Okay. Sarthak, if you're, like, you spoke about phygital and how it's running currently. But where do you see technology delivering the most tangible value? Is it, for example, on the customer service part? Do you see it in operational efficiency of how you're doing your business, or maybe long-term asset performance, or anything else?
I would say it's across. So if I look at more from a customer perspective, definitely the customer get to know that what product we are going to be bringing in, because all those AR, VRs and other things you can actually see from a customer standpoint that, okay, somewhere the customer is more aware of what product we are actually going to be delivering. From an operational perspective, which is more from our perspective, I would say my entire marketing, my sales, the funnels really get the better of it. I can say that. My efficiencies actually increase because I know from a buyer persona perspective that, okay, buyer behavior perspective, who is my key buyers. Today it's all about, I can actually do my lead scoring. As soon as somebody calls me, I know from where exactly this guy is calling me. I can do the lead scoring. I can say that, okay, this is my P1 buyer. Let my best executive attend this because I know the closure percentages are going to be better over there. So I would say it is across the platform. Like I said that, okay, PropTech, it's not just in one of those aspects, it's across the spectrum, even from a long-term perspective. And that is what I started, where I started from, that even those days are not far off where people are going to look on from a due diligence perspective. Like Ghulam said that, okay, it's all about having all your land records which are going to be digitized, right? So we are talking about blockchain. I think that is one of the key things. So once that happens, believe me, everything is going to be digitized across. Okay. So it's across the board.
Rajiv. I think it's the experience. Just to add on what Sarthak is saying, I think experience is becoming critical. Wherever we can add digitally through PropTech and the experience, customer is very happy to have that experience. Second thing, I think what we have seen is the distribution changing completely. The game changer here in real estate, at least in the last 3-4 years, I think Sumesh will agree to it. He was part of one company which was leading the distribution part of it. I think the PropTech is being able to kind of completely change the game for distribution. Today, sitting in office, I can do the distribution throughout, not only India to the outside India. I think distribution is key today real estate. 60 to 70% of our sales for a good brand comes from channel partners. And that distribution has become very easy today through PropTech. And the channel partners, they have been able to get the entire details and the experience of a project digitally. I think for me, that is the game changer completely from a distribution point of view. I can reach to the channel partner, and from a consumer point of view, the experience that we give through AR, VR, that has really been great. It is going to the next level. And then the NRI segment, we used to do a lot of road shows, to reach the NRI. Today, I think it's not required to have a road shows. It's digitally been mapped. I think those are the three critical aspects.
Oh, fantastic. Great. That's a very valid insight from both of you on that. Sumesh, which space in this, which segment do you feel is the most under-digitized, which could need most of, is ripe for innovation? Would it be like the sales part, the construction, asset management, or post-handover? Where do you think we can PropTech can make a big impact?
See, construction is primarily a B2B, phenomena where the developer is actually, in liaison with all these vendors and the architectural team, the technical team, the execution team, the post-possession handover team. So that B2B part, I think, is very well covered in our industry. I think all the top players are doing their bit, and they are following the processes to the T. And from what we had a decade back to now, I think we've done phenomenal, innovations there. As I said, the B2C part is actually the difficult part because that's a continuous engagement with your customer and the end user. And in terms of segment, what happens is a customer just wants to know what is happening in the project. He just wants everything at the tip of his, because his major part of his life earnings has gone into his home buying. So there he wants a comfort on a regular basis that, whether the project is moving right, कौन सा slab आ रहा है, अब payment due होने वाला है, तो, mentally he starts preparing कि next 15 दिन, 1 महीने में मेरा ये payment होने वाला है. possession aa rahi hai, to that excitement that my apartment is 1 year, 1.5 year. So that bit, I think what right now everybody is following is updates through various channels, and I think someday or maybe soon a lot of people are working on delivering that at a one click, where you can show it to the family, various segments in your family. So I think around the possession and post possession is something which developers are focusing on right now to ensure that after sale service. पहला part तो as Rajiv said that B2B model से आपने distribution बहुत अच्छा कर लिया, AR/VR से आपने customer को influence कर दिया, impress कर दिया कि this is this is really the house of your the dream house. उसके बाद की journey जो होती है 4-5 साल की, that is where every touch, every comfort that you give to your audience, that is something which gets you the repeat buy or brings that loyalty to you. So post-possession and that loyalty programs, which I think the top 4 or 5 developers are doing, and I think that is something which the second tier and more and more developers would start following.
Okay, great. Rajiv, from your perspective, which innovation do you think has helped most directly improve your conversions, your customer trust, or sales velocity? Which one would you say? Would it be the AR/VR or anything else?
I think it's again, we get, I think for a real estate brand, getting the leads is not a challenge. I think we get, bucket full of leads, but leads to walk-in, that's one parameter that we say is the site visits that happens. That also we managed to do it through a lot of pre-sale calling that happens to the customer, that we also managed to get to the site. But I think the challenge is the site visit to sales. I think that is where good brands do 15-20%, but that 80% gap is there. That 80% gap, that is where I think today the number of leads can be reduced, your walk-ins quality goes up, because you are focusing on micro-targeting. You are not specific to the segment that you want to target. So that micro-targeting through different, PropTech modules that is available today, you can do remarketing, lookalikes, and other parts. That is helping to get a quality site visits. And the quality site visit, what happens at the site, we have been able to give that phygital experience at the site. And that conversion ratio is going up. I think that is where that marketing spends comes down and your ROI is better. Purely from the point of view, we have been able to convert more site visits to sale, which used to be 10-15%, maybe at the 20-25% bucket that is coming. I think that is one of the big things that's happening. Second thing which we have been able to do is the customer profiling. I think real estate is a category where we have to do micro-targeting to sell a project. And profiling becomes critical. When the customer comes to the site, he doesn't buy in a first visit, he buys after visiting 2, 3, 4 times. So that is where I think the progressive profiling becomes critical. And today, with the PropTech support and the social media integration to it, and Salesforce integration to it, doing all those coverage, we have been able to do progressive profiling of the customer. So next time he comes, I know that whether he likes to go mountains or he wants to go to sea beaches, so that I know the product proposition that I want to pitch. Or should I talk about the school or should I talk about the temple?
Correct.
I think the progressive profiling part with the integration of a lot of PropTech modules have been able to help us.
Which is great because in a way, the product that you are offering for example, at any of your projects is in a way standardized by way of 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, whatever wo hi hai. But by finding out a little bit about the customer, you're able to, in a way, customize it for him or her. Because, like you said, should I talk about the school? Should I talk about the temple? Should I talk about the park?
And that helps in your conversion ratio.
Of course, of course. So I'm running out of time, but one last question to everybody on the panel. I want you to do a little crystal ball gazing. So now we're talking about phygital, so which is, the discovery is on digital, but the customer will come personally to see it. What is the one thing in the PropTech, the technology space that you feel in the next 5 or 10 years would become kind of like standardized? Like, आज अगर आप कोई भी builder के पास जाओ, you will expect कि यार website होगा या कुछ video भेजे या जो property मेरी है, like Sumesh was saying, you get that slab updates, हो रहा है, payment the links come, etc. That is now standardized. Every buyer expects it. what in the next 5-10 years do you think would become, every buyer will expect it?
Okay, so I think something what Rajiv has already touched, and it is not 5-10 years away. Probably it is already happening, and very fast it is happening, which is personalization and hyper-personalization. So just to add upon, like Rajiv said, that okay, whether he's wanting a school or he wants something which is like near to a railway station, whatever. So you know that as soon as a customer is even visiting your websites, you know what exactly he's scrolling, what exactly he's wanting. Immediately, I know that, okay, this person has invested probably like 10 extra minutes on one of my amenities. The next thing what happens is it's like in the 15th minute, he's actually going to get an emailer specifically for that particular thing, saying that, okay, this is what you are looking on to. So it is like he knows that, okay, immediately his attention is being caught. He knows that, okay, yes, this is the right product. I should be really looking forward to this. Even to that level, when we talk from a hyper-personalization, it is like, okay, I know a consumer is actually going to be opening his mailers between 4 to 6 p.m. only on a Wednesday or a Thursday. So my mailers are actually going to hit his inbox at that particular point in time. Right? So I think it is all about how well you read that data, because it's an abundance of data what we are already getting. So how well we can dissect the data, how well we can read the data, and through these PropTech platforms and AI integrated into it now, I think it's like there is no limit to it. So for me, it's both personalization and hyper-personalization, which we are already experiencing right now.
Okay, fantastic. Swadesh?
Okay, so I think 2 or 3 things. The number one thing I think which will standardize across developers would be inventory. How do you showcase your inventory? हम लोग रियल एस्टेट में जैसे सेल्स कर रहे हैं तो फर्स्ट डे बोलते हैं तो सोल्ड आउट है, या जो प्रीमियम इन्वेंट्री है उसको हम ट्रांसपेरेंसी. सो द नंबर वन थिंग, रियल एस्टेट इज अ ट्रस्ट बेस्ड बाय, आप अपनी पूंजी लगा रहे हो तो यू नो दैट यू नीड 2 or 3 confirmations और ट्रस्ट फैक्टर ऑन द डेवलपर. सो वन इज जो मुझे इन्वेंट्री चाहिए, या मुझे एक पूरा आइडिया मिल रहा है कि ये इन्वेंट्री है और मुझे इसमें से जो मुझे पसंद है वास्तु के हिसाब से या मेरे टिकट साइज के हिसाब से मुझे वो इन्वेंट्री दिख रही है, और देन आई मेक अ इन्फॉर्म्ड बाइंग in terms purchase in terms of what I want to buy. Second is price discovery, especially in the mid and luxury segment. Customers, because transactions बहुत ज़्यादा और regular नहीं होते, तो lot of customers feel that whether I'm paying the right price, and they start looking for various other avenues. They start scouting कि last agreement कितने में हुआ, कितने की deals हुई हैं. So that price discovery, if they know that I have done the right decision, this is the last price or this is the average of last few months cut pricing, so then that gives him a comfort, because or else he'll always take time in decision making whether I'm paying the right price. And third is the legal technical aspect. Day one पे developers also feel that एक बार transaction हो जाए फिर document दूँ, legal document बाद में दूँ, सर आप रेरा पे जाके document ले लीजिए, but if you are upfront कि सर ये document है, ये inventory है, ये price है, decision making becomes faster.
Right.
Fear of losing out on your choices, inventory, probably you miss out on. Your decision making, as Rajiv said, आज जो 3, 4, 5 visits लगती है या 3, 4 sites देखते हैं, broker से पूछते हैं, relative से पूछते हैं, neighbor से पूछते हैं, that will become easy. So decision making, convenience, and the end-to-end, thing will become easier if these 3 things are taken care of.
Fantastic. Rajiv, your last word.
I think there are 2 aspects. One is clear that, we used to have metaverse a couple of years back, and people thought that real estate will gain a lot of opportunity through metaverse. And some of the developers have been able to do that, to give that experience. Now, I think AI will change the entire module for sales and marketing. The way that we are doing the marketing today, the communication, Sarthak was talking about customization, completely will change through AI. And we are already seeing that, the way that AI communication is going through different platforms, including Google, Meta platforms. So that's one aspect. The second thing, I think I'm very positive about the way that real estate is getting sold to the end users and to the investors. There is something that fractional ownership is going to be a big one for real estate, and that will open up the sector to the investor who are not able to buy certain luxury segment or say premium segment or different locations. That will open up. I think fractional ownership in real estate, in residential segment, through REITs, like REITs, will be a big one for real estate going forward. I think that's something we are looking forward to.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to the three gentlemen. Those were some great insights and a beautiful way to end the panel by doing a bit of crystal ball gazing. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the panel.
That's absolutely right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's all have our prop tech experts gather for a group photo op. I think this last conversation has certainly helped prove that the era of prop tech is no longer around the corner. The era of prop tech has arrived. And before we let our panelists go, if I could please have our moderators, Sumit Lakutia, present each of our panelists with a small token of our appreciation, our way of saying thank you from the ETNow.in Realty and Conclave Awards and Team 2026 West Edition. Excellent. Sarthak, Sumesh and Rajiv, you've truly done justice to the conversation. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Keep an eye out for that real estate outlook, the three pillars of which are prop tech, innovation, and future opportunities. Thank you so much. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I anticipate that you've probably worked up a bit of an appetite, and we want you to certainly take advantage of the opportunity to network, given the caliber of this gathering. So we're going to break for high tea for 15 minutes, and the ETNow.in Realty Conclave Awards 2026 West Edition will resume at 6:30 p.m. sharp. So we'll see you back then. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please take your designated seats. The ETNow.in Realty Conclave Awards 2026 West Edition will resume momentarily. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, just another gentle nudge, including the audience that has stepped outside for a quick tea break. We're about to resume, so we ask that you kindly take your designated seats. Do be cognizant of the cameras. This is a televised event, and we intend to resume the ETNow.in Realty Conclave Awards 2026 West Edition momentarily. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please take your designated seats so we can continue with our exciting power-packed agenda here at the ETNow.in Realty Conclave Awards 2026 West Edition. So we ask that you kindly re-enter the ballroom, settle in so that we can resume. All right, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move into our next session. And here we turn our focus from numbers and policies to something that's far more enduring, which is design, identity, and the soul of our cities. So Indian modernism has always been a dialogue between tradition and innovation, form and function, aspiration and context. So today, as our cities expand vertically and horizontally, the question is no longer just how fast we build, but what we build and what it ultimately stands for. So our next panel, aptly titled Building Icons, Indian Modernism and the Shape of the City, will explore how architecture and urban design is influencing skylines, lifestyles, and the cultural narrative of urban India. So to moderate what promises to be a highly compelling conversation, we have with us a leader who brings a sharp editorial lens to technology, design, and the future. If I could please invite my colleague and managing editor with the Digit, Mithun Mohandas, to kindly join us on stage and guide us through this discussion. Huge round of applause, please. And joining him on this panel are some of the most respected voices in architecture, urban development, and real estate. So I ask that you please join me in welcoming our panelists, who include Ms. Sapna Kakaria, Principal Architect, the Canvas Group at A&J Group, Mr. Mukesh Mehta, the Chairman of Project Consultants Private Limited, Mr. Reza Kabul, the President of ARK Reza Kabul Architects, and Ms. Ayushi Asher, Director of Asher Group, and lastly, Mr. Bhushan Nimlikar, Director of Sumit Group. So we can have all of our panelists kindly join us on stage, join Mithun as he does a deep dive on the topic. A lot of exciting insights, I imagine, will come forth from this conversation. And once more, a huge round of applause for all of our panelists. And we ask that you kindly do join us back in the auditorium in case you have yet to. That's right. Sapna, Mukesh, Reza, Ayushi, and Bhushan. I think they've all more or less joined us on stage. All right. With that, like I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, some of the most respected voices in architecture, urban development, and real estate have taken the stage. And without further ado, Mithun, I'll hand it over. The floor is yours. Let's have the mics on at the console, please. If we could kindly ensure the mics are all turned on.
Mic check. All right. Thank you for the wonderful introduction,
Sure,
Pooja.
Mithun.
And moving on to the topic, it's all about building icons, and we're focusing on Indian modernism. Now, modernism is usually defined as rejection of traditional thoughts, beliefs, but is that really what happens when you look at property development as an ecosystem? Now, I'd like to start off with Mukesh, especially because you look at things from a planning and project consultancy perspective. What truly makes a development iconic in India? Is it visual prominence, or is it long-term contribution to urban efficiency and resilience?
I think firstly, thank you for having me here and such an august audience and panelists. Hello. I believe that what we perceive as iconic design, there are two thoughts there. Some people feel that the form is more important than the function. And if you come up with these beautiful, sculptural, unique designs, that will sort of establish an iconic status. My company only deals with projects which are considered iconic. And I'll talk in context of the project that I'm working on. So one of the projects we started was the Dharavi redevelopment project. 25 years ago, people called me a fool because government was giving away Dharavi land for free. And I said, no, that's a mistake. And we can do better than BKC. And everyone laughed at me. Today, you know, Mr. Adani has taken over, and I think he's going to make wonders. At that time, my thought was that a typical Mumbaikar does not want to get into Dharavi. And a slum dweller, that was the government thought. And the slum dweller should get low-cost housing and sort of do the standard SRA scheme. I went and met Mr. Balasaheb Thackeray, and I said, your slum scheme will fail. Luckily, I was an NRI at that time. So NRIs have the little extra pass to be able to sort of cross the line. And then I gave him the concept, but I said, Dharavi is not just for Mumbaikars. Dharavi has to integrate with the rest of India and the rest of the world. And we have to design, because where do you get 600 acres of land? And once you demolish all the slums, how can you not make it better than BKC? Because BKC was 70s. We are now talking of 90s, etc. Luckily, he supported me. Later on, others supported me. And we created what is today internationally perceived as an iconic project. Now, to me, iconic is not just merely design of some beautiful building. Somehow, iconic buildings, the form and function seems to have segregated. I feel they complement each other as per the master's thoughts of 20th century. But now we're building 21st century India. And therefore, if you make it sustainable for the people and relevant to the city, to the culture, etc., using the latest technology, latest design tools, and now with softwares available, you can create some magnificent designs and then bring it, then it becomes a unique, in this case, community, but individual buildings also. In my case, what has happened is every project that we have touched has expanded its value and profitability for the client threefold, fourfolds, and sometimes tenfolds, just because it is treated as unique. Now, what is iconic today has to remain classic in a way, where tomorrow it's a way of life. What was considered iconic of Corbusier or Frank Lloyd Wright 50 years ago, 70 years ago, a lot of us can design those buildings, build those buildings, and build better than that. And I feel, to me, that is what will be relevant to call it iconic.
Now, those were some behind-the-scenes stories that we're all glad Mukesh could share with us. Now, I'd like to pass it on to Sapna. As an architect who's deeply involved in translating vision into built form, how do you define Indian modernism? Is it sort of something that should be rooted more in cultural identity, or should it be more aligned with Western design language that are currently dominating skylines?
So I think it's a multifaceted approach that we take. I don't think I can pick any one, either ways. Cultural identity will actually make the space or give the architecture or the design its own soul. Imbibing global standards will make it relevant to the connected world. We are far more connected than we used to be. And keeping all that in mind, amalgamating everything will give you a space which is more humanizing. I think that is a factor that we forget. It's not about the cultural, it's not about how it looks, it's all about how it feels or how the person sitting, occupying that space actually feels. And I think amalgamating all these three things, which is, keeping them synthetic, will actually make it more livable. We talk about the spaces, how the commute happens. I'll just give you a small example. I was traveling to this place, and I don't know if all of you experienced the evening traffic. I actually had to get off my car, hike, hitch a ride on the way with a biker and reach here.
This is what we are all struggling with today. So it's not about iconism, it's not about what it looks like, it's about creating spaces which are conducive to humans. Today, time is something which is so short of. So how do we actually make spaces where people can reach faster, they can access amenities faster, they can access their home faster, their office spaces faster. If we keep all that in mind and create environments or neighborhoods, that will give us better results. And then, of course, everything follows through. And one more very important thing is also keeping the environment in mind, because India does have extreme climatic conditions. So that is what will also define the comfort of the people occupying the spaces. So your HVAC quality, your lighting quality, what comes in, your water quality, your nutrition quality that you offer. So I think that also will take precedence over the other two factors. But I would say, in and all, if you combine all of these factors, is what will define good architecture or good design.
At the end, it's the human who's also occupying that space that matters. Now, since you talked about environment, there's obviously the question that comes to mind is that of sustainability. So, Bhushan, I'd like to ask you about sustainability becoming integral to urban development. How can Indian modernism evolve to create iconic structures that are not only visibly striking, but also environmentally responsible?
I think now we have to think from the point of view of the environmentally or sustainable, all the words that we talk are going to be the basic principles to start a project. Because going forward, looking at the AQI levels that we are having, the people are facing construction issues we are facing. Sapna said about the traffic issues or the waterlogging issues that happens in monsoon. Iconic buildings will be must. I think even the government of Maharashtra has come up with a resolution to have some iconic buildings. To give, we have a recent example, classic example of Dubai. After the Burj Khalifa, everything in Dubai changed. So we will require some kind of iconic buildings. Government will have to incentivize us to create more iconic buildings, help different architectures to give architecture kind of designs where there are a lot of restrictions because of the FSI regulations. Environmental will play a role where you have to see how your next generation perceives it. Because now when you think next generation thinks, can we have solar energy with us? Can we have proper storage, STP plants? That are now the basic things. But once you go high-rise, iconic in Mumbai is, we think about high-rise buildings. How high-rise buildings will be sustainable, how their electricity can be generated or regenerated, that will be a big issue. How parking maneuvering will happen, how if you are going to use more mechanical parkings, then how that is going to be sustainable in long run, that is going to be a challenge. So all these things looking at environmental, sustainable and construction technology will have to come together to create some kind of synergies. And I think, as Mukesh sir said, a lot of technologies are available now. We can use them, and we have already, the construction industry has started using them for faster construction. Now we have to look at how we can create faster, better and sustainable construction. So that is going to be the key going forward.
Now, thank you. Especially since you mentioned faster and Mumbai being a city that operates at a ridiculous pace, Ayushi, I'd like to ask you about the speed and scale at which developments happen in the city. And since we're talking about iconic structures, what differentiates a project that becomes a momentary landmark from one that earns sort of long-term cultural significance? Could we please check the mic?
Hello. Thank you for having me here today. I think what really creates an iconic building, and in a city like Bombay, I think the hardest thing is to find large land parcels, right? Like when you look at Dubai, you look at all these other cities, they have large land parcels, and so you can really create iconic structures. When we have, smaller plots of land, how do you truly create icons there? I think the first thing starts from the story. By story, I mean your inspiration to create an iconic structure. That may come from the location, it may come from the heritage of that land, it can come from your inspiration, something you have seen maybe in the world, and it starts with that story first. The second thing to truly make something iconic is craftsmanship. By craftsmanship, I mean the quality of materials that truly make a building timeless. Because that iconicity is not created in the first 2 years when you're constructing it. It has to be iconic after those 2-3 years, after you have handed it over, and customers are coming in, living, experiencing that building day in, day out. That's where it truly becomes an icon, and that's where craftsmanship really shows. And the third thing I would say is it has to leave something on the urban ecosystem. For example, we're doing a project on Pali Hill, and inevitably the story there is that it's a heritage plot, it's Dilip Saab's bungalow, and for us that was a very integral part of the story, that we wanted to stay true to the legacy that he has created. With craftsmanship, we really wanted to again do justice to that, and we have a complete stone-clad building there, which is one of its kind in Bombay. But the urban impact of that project is that we also have a museum there, which would, which would kind of serve the larger audience who can come in and experience that project and experience that building. Even though it's a luxury project, we have a separate space for a museum that would really kind of that embodies his legacy and his work. So I think buildings should have a mix of these three things to truly stand out and create iconic structures.
Now, as Indian cities scale rapidly, how can planning and infrastructure frameworks ensure modern developments ease mobility and services rather than intensifying urban stress? Now, all of you touched upon the urban stress bit quite a lot. Now, Mukesh, could you also give us a little insight on this?
Yeah. So as cities, most of our cities have grown organically over the last 75 years. And most of them are getting regenerated, renewed. So firstly, you have an opportunity to more efficiently plan the existing cities. And of course, the growth, as you're seeing, you have Mumbai 1, Mumbai 2, Mumbai 3, MMRDA area expand, etc. But sadly, it's the same 20th century thinking. So we're not thinking, okay, 50 years from today, what Dubai or what China, the kind of examples they're leading to build futuristic cities, what should we do? In fact, I've spoken to some senior officers in charge of some of these projects. And when I talk to them, that, sir, we have opportunity to create future where instead of us looking at Dubai or Singapore or China, Sudan and other countries which may come up 50 years, 20 years from now, should be looking at us. The officers don't want to see my face anymore. Because they're saying, ye standard jo hai, waise hi rehna chahiye. I feel that we have to make these cities essentially where quality of life becomes critical and it becomes a tourist attraction. There are 5 areas in which that happens. One is people travel from any part of the world to any other part of the world if for health tourism. For health reasons, they'll go anywhere. For business reasons, they'll go anywhere. For sightseeing, they'll go anywhere. Education, they'll go anywhere. Cultural experience, they'll go anywhere. So if we create these world-class cities with world-class whole system, then the quality of life becomes beautiful and you're going for the sake of that quality of life. And so planning that, we have to foresee 50 years from today what's going to happen. None of our cities, unfortunately, have seen that. Not only that, but even today, redeveloping Mumbai or redeveloping Thane or other parts, we are making the same mistake. So it's more of cut and paste architecture. It's if you look out, you can't identify really whether something new, creative is coming up. This is the fault of me and my peer group that is doing that, but also the developers who don't have the courage to take that risk and say, yes, we should be able to do it. And our fault because we are not able to market our ideas clearly. So if we look at it from that 20-year cycle, why should I have to go from Borivali to Nariman Point to do a business? That's what we're doing in Thane now. Walk to work. And so we'll create something where BKC starts looking like a poor cousin. And therefore, Thane becomes important. Navi Mumbai becomes important. Karjat, Panvel, all these places, you have massive opportunities. And even if you're rebuilding in Mumbai, make it absolutely world-class because the cost of construction is negligible in comparison to the cost of land. So why not give the best quality and emulate people like Oberoi or people like some of these fantastic developers, Lodha and others. And I feel they also can raise their standard even much, much higher. So I think if we do it in that context, we'll make a world mark.
We've got 1.5 minutes on the counter, so this is the time for a nice, fun question, a little bit of forecasting, peering into the future, 20 to 30 years down the line. What is that one architectural or planning decision made today that may strongly define the identity and livability of future Indian cities? Anyone can start. Swapna, how about you?
Does it work? Yeah. Okay. I think I'll continue from where I started. What will work is creating smaller ecosystems, smaller cities where everyone can live, work, recreate, creating communities where people feel a part of the community and not just, I'm just contradicting what you said about iconic buildings. You would look at an iconic building maybe for 5 seconds, but what you see at your eye level, what you feel at your eye level is going to be more important. So how you walk, how you communicate, how can you build eye contact with your neighbors, how you can go to a grocery store within 5 minutes, how can you reach your workplace within 10 minutes. I think that is what will define a successful living space in the next 20, 30 years, rather than, creating.
Awesome. And Bhushan, you seem to be eager to share your 2 cents.
Yeah. So, in a way, I agree because livability is going to be a key thing. People are less on time. Everybody has less time and they want more time for themselves, for their families. So, walk to work, mixed-use developments. I think that is going to be the quite good quality mixed-use developments that we see in Singapore, where people go to work, just walk to work. Even the restaurants are nearby, even the schools are nearby. If that kind of community building, if we are able to do. But in Mumbai, land holdings are very small. So to create mixed-use developments, maybe the bigger areas will be required, or a cluster redevelopment will be required, where that will help us to do more mixed-use development. And with the mixed-use development, if the livability and becomes better, automatically that will create into some kind of iconic modernization. That's what I feel. Thank you.
Yes, please, Mukesh.
The communities, as Sapna said, as Bhushan said, are the core where you live. But I feel there needs to be that at the primary level. And then there's secondary level for the sake of economy of scale. For example, you can't have the Nita Ambani Center in 35 parts of Mumbai, because that is the tertiary level, or your court system, or your other convenience system. And therefore, a primary, secondary, tertiary level of whatever you're living, convenience, depending on the frequency of use that you have, I think will improve the quality of life. Ultimately, everything focuses on quality of life. If that improves, your happiness index, your relaxation index improves, and your productivity improves. And this is precisely what we're doing in Thane, the walk to work, the the cultural experiences, etc., but at that primary level. And I think that will help.
And would you like to round it off, Ayushi?
I genuinely feel that architecture is one part of it, but what we have ignored for a long time is urban planning. And we need, micro-market specific urban planning codes to really feel the architecture of that micro-market. It shouldn't be that, I'm passing by one project and one project is completely on a different, design language and another is on a different design language, which happens today. And yes, that is a creative call, but there has to be a little bit more urban planning code that would kind of sync up everything.
Those were some really interesting perspectives into the thoughts going into designing India's future iconic cities and the decisions that need to be taken to ensure that they are livable and iconic. A big round of applause to all our esteemed panelists. Thank you all for joining us. And Pooja?
Thank you, Mithun, and thank you to all of our panelists, of course. And Mithun, I ask that you please gather with the panelists for a group photo op to capture the moment here at the ETNow.in Realty Conclave Awards 2026 West Edition. Thank you. And Mithun, I ask that you please present each of our esteemed panelists with a token of our appreciation, our way of saying thank you for being here. A memento, that's our symbol of gratitude. Sapna, Mukesh, Reza, Ayushi, Bhushan, thank you so much for being here. Wonderful. And that concludes our session, Building Icons, Indian Modernism and the Shape of the City. All right, we'll let our panelists resume their seats in the audience as we continue with the agenda. Excellent. And thank you, Mithun, for spearheading the conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we progress through today's conversations, I think now's the right time to zoom out and look at the larger urban story of Western India. Because this region is witnessing such a powerful shift from standalone developments to mixed-use ecosystems, and from central business districts to emerging growth corridors, and from conventional real estate to experience-led urban spaces. I think I've named it all. So our next session, ladies and gentlemen, Urban Evolution, Trends Shaping Western India's Realty Landscape, will examine these forces that are redefining how cities across the region are planned, are built, and experienced across residential, commercial, and mixed-use developments alike. So to guide us through this incredibly broad topic, we again now bring with us a moderator who has a strong editorial perspective on design, on technology, and the urban future. That's right. If I could please invite my colleague and managing editor with Digit, Mithun Mohandas, back on stage to spearhead and guide us through this discussion. And Mithun, you're joined by a power-packed panel of leaders who are actively reshaping Western India's real estate footprint. And this is across asset classes, ladies and gentlemen. So I ask that my panelists please join me on stage one at a time as I announce their name. We've got Mr. Manan Shah, who's the Managing Director with MICL Group. If I could kindly have Manan join us on stage. And he's joined by a highly illustrious lineup of Mr. Vittal Suryavanshi, who's the CEO of Commercial Real Estate with the Phoenix Mills Limited. If Mr. Suryavanshi could join us. We've also got Mr. Harish Jain, H. Rishabhraj Group. If I could please have Sir on stage. Mr. Girish Chalwani, the co-founder of Lords of the Land. That's right, Lords of the Lands, and Vikram Mehta, Managing Director at Mesacon and President of BDA. All right, I think our panel is approaching the stage one by one. They all promise to bring a perspective that's unique so that we walk away with a 360-degree understanding and deep dive on the conversation. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking urban evolution, the trends that are shaping Western India's realty landscape. And with that, I hand it over to you, Mithun. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Pooja. And in the previous panel, we had quite a lot of interesting perspectives in the designs, the thoughts, the philosophies that go into, building cities for the future of India. Now, there's always a little look into the factors that are also unavoidable, the trends that are always present, and the ones that you need to factor into your planning decisions. Now, when we look at urban evolution, I'd like to start off with Manan. I'd like to start off with Vittal then. Moving from residential growth to commercial anchors, how are large format, commercial, and mixed-use developments redefining city centers? And are they also affecting consumption patterns in a similar manner?
Hello. As we all know that our cities are, one hand, our cities are growing. On the other hand, our world is shrinking in terms of course, the scale is the same, but we are coming closer. So in that context, human-centric, if you have to really look at from human-centric designs, what are people expecting in a person's life in a day? When they come to office, they work. Obviously, they want the best of the workplaces. Secondly, they want F&B, entertainment, hotels, sports. If all the needs are taken care at one place, that's the best place to work for. And that's what customers are expecting today. That's one side of the story. The other side of the story is who are your occupiers? Your occupiers are global players, and global players have global expectations. They expect nothing less than best. Nothing. That's their expectation. The multinational companies, large companies, global companies, they want, which is as per global standards. So if you have to cater to all that kind of requirement, you have to have mixed use is the only way forward. And at Phoenix, we have realized this maybe much earlier than compared to our peers in the industry. And most of our developments have been human-centric, have been mixed-used. Mixed use, we at Phoenix, we are pioneer in retail, and we have mastered that art of retail, mixing it with hotel, office, and even to some extent residential apartments wherever it's possible. So in true sense, we are coming up with some truly world-class mixed-use development, which is what is driving people, our clients, global clients, and the best of the clients to our campuses. And I think the timing is fantastic because the clients' expectations have gone up, as I mentioned earlier. They are very happy to pay the top dollar because they want to be they want to be in a great location, they want to be in great development, where they don't have to struggle to get people back, particularly the supplies post-COVID situation, where people have had serious issues in companies, global companies had serious issues in getting people back to their office. Our kind of developments are, helping them get people back to their office. So mixed use is the way. And if you have to think from, as per global standards, you'll see world-class cities. Globally, you'll have underground metro station right there. Just you come out of it, come up, you have hotels, offices, residential, everything in one single tower. So similar concepts are coming up here in India. And we have started working on that journey. All our developments are on those lines. Yeah.
Truly. Now, most of the property ads that we see are quite mirroring what you just said. You'll see a mall in one corner, you'll see an office building, a data center in the back, and a couple of residential towers in the middle. Now, there's one aspect about Indian cities, and in particular Mumbai, is that it is land-starved. So, Harish, in a land-starved city like Mumbai, redevelopment seems to be the only way forward. But it isn't always smooth sailing. What are the hurdles that are still slowing down this process?
Basically, initially there were a lot of policy issues, like before COVID and all. So that has streamlined many things. And it has become quite easier and faster than previously what it used to be. But still, like at the pace what we got the reforms done after particularly 2022, another set of reforms, like consistently there should be changes what is required to speed up the redevelopment. So that reforms has to be made by government in a very speedy way, and execution of the same has to be done immediately on a simultaneously basis. As like when we go for representations through associations to government and we get the reforms done, but the execution of the same has been getting very difficult as the time gap between the GR and a circular is so huge, so that it takes a lot of time to get executed. So that should be taken care of. Other than that, since like redevelopment now, there are many schemes. There are many approval authorities. We have SRA, we have MHADA, we have BMC. So a lot of schemes, there are clubbing schemes in SRA, there are clubbing schemes in BMC. So the schemes have already started, but the procedure for handover of the PTCs is still not there in place, which really halts the redevelopment in between. Like you give a permission to develop a in situ PTC or a PTC outside the plot. Like a scheme like 20B still doesn't have provisions in place how to hand over those PTC in order to get this project completed. So that all should be streamlined. Where else, other than the policy matters, there are few things if government standardize it as they've standardized in cluster schemes, in SRAs. So other ways also if they standardize it, then it becomes very easier for a developer to go to the tenants, to the societies, to get that redevelopment done in a faster and a proper way. The scheme, there is no substandard matter. So a lot of developers keep on giving the offers, and then there are a lot of now kind of पहले तो सिर्फ BMC में issues थे, अभी societies में भी issue होने लग गए. So like one never thought कि in a society also such kind of on a table or activism would start. So it's not a platform to actually say that. But that also is creating a bottleneck or a hurdle in future redevelopment, because a lot of cluster schemes have been promoted where it's very good. Cluster, like all mixed-use development can happen only in cluster. It cannot happen in a standalone building. So, and when mixed-use development is a potential which we can take it in cluster, so some policies should be streamlined in such a way that we can easily, now there's like on a first floor we can have an IT office, we cannot have the restaurants and all those things. So that all things can be taken care of. So in such a way, if government really takes care about all these things, redevelopment can be more faster, and redevelopment is the only way out left where, and it should be in such, the policies should be such कि ये क्यों redevelopment है? Why not? It's as good as a greenfield projects. So that also can help कि भाई there should not be a difference between a redevelopment and a greenfield project. So otherwise, things are like much better than what was before.
So a lot of hindrances from you'd say bureaucracy, and also the human factor is always there, but the government is taking some efforts in introducing new schemes, but things need to be streamlined. Now, I'd like to move on to Girish. Some investors are looking for a simpler path by going back to the fundamentals. Why is land suddenly emerging as a preferred asset class over built structures?
So when we started this discussion, as Sir rightly mentioned, the world is shrinking. Now, everyone knows that Earth's surface covers 30% land. But I don't think everyone knows that Maharashtra has only 0.00018% of the land which is available for future development. That's the scarcity that we are talking about. And this particular land parcel will be available for future development, which will be consumed by 15 crore population of Maharashtra. And hence people have understood that gold is one of the asset class, silver is one of the asset class, which probably can have ups and downs in terms of their pricing. However, when it comes to real estate people have not seen a nosedive of 25, 30, 40 odd % in last 2 decades, 3 decades, or even in last 50 years. And hence people are going back to what their forefathers or ancestors did, started buying land first. And that's the foundation of real estate.
So Mumbai is definitely land-starved, and so is Maharashtra. Vikram, I'd like to take your thoughts on urban development. Can you tell us how Mumbai development is likely to shape up in the coming years?
See, the current government, the schemes that they have come out with, I think in the past few years, a lot of hurdles have been cleared out for mass mega projects to come up. If you look at overall over the years, especially if I talk of Mumbai region as such, the whole approach was to control development. And suddenly with all these schemes that have come up in the DCPR and even in the UDCPR, the entire focus is now to unlock and unleash the potential of land. If you look at empowerment, the way they've empowered SRA, the way they've empowered MHADA, SRA now has a special cell which deals with removal of non-consenting slum owners. And we recently, the associations had met with the CEO of SRA. They gave us examples where they've cleared major projects of these hurdles in less than 50 days. So this kind of approach that comes from this government right now, I see a lot of shift to mega projects happening. Cluster redevelopment is a big push as far as this government is concerned. And if you look at MHADA also, the land parcels, they're no more giving approval for smaller land parcels. They ensure that a larger land parcel is developed. So now you hear of couple of acres of development happening. So I think this is what is going to shape the future of redevelopment in the coming years, in my opinion.
Now, we've covered a lot of things, including human behavior, financing, looking at asset class in a completely different way, land starvation, and obviously the initiatives that are being taken by the government. But if we were to look at just one thing, this is from soil to skyscraper, just one factor, be it policy, infrastructure, lifestyle, or tech, which will be the single biggest architect of Western India's landscape by 2030? Anyone can take it. Okay, I'll repeat the question. If you had to pick one factor from policy, infrastructure, lifestyle, or tech, which will be the single biggest architect of Western India's landscape by 2030, which will it be?
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure will play a very big and a major role. If we want to have life in Mumbai, infrastructure would be the architecture which we would really love to see in Mumbai or in Western India. As currently we can really see that what Coastal Road has played, the life which has been almost, it was dead because everybody shifted to BKC from Nariman Point. Again, that has put in life in South Mumbai. Atal Setu, again it has put life in South Mumbai. So as if infrastructure, now we are planning to take this to Versova, we are planning to take this to Chaco, we are planning to take this to Mira Bhayandar, and then of course to Vadhavan Port where the new port has been constructed. So infrastructure, if it's properly planned in the way it is going, and the government is really playing a major role in speedy development of infrastructure, so I see maybe another 50, 100 years life in city of Mumbai. And other than that, like for beautification and the landscaping part, green greenery, environment, that also would play a major role. That also can be architect of Mumbai in order to have a better lifestyle, better improvement, and like to have an standard as compared to some other cities in the world. So I feel infrastructure will play a major role.
We are definitely land starved, but we are also starved on time. But I see, Vittal, you have the mic in your hand. Is there something you like to add?
I think human-centric designs, capacity building. I think whatever infrastructure we are building today, it's not even good enough for today's requirement. If you start thinking maybe 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from today, and what are the requirements going to be, and designs have to be human-centric, how people are going to communicate, how people are going to travel, how people are going to work, how people are going to live. If those things are keeping in mind, if we start building capacities and start respecting humans, and I mean, as again, they'll use the word human-centric designs, infrastructure, this is the extension of what he said, yeah? Thanks.
Now, thank you, Manan, for also joining us. And there was this one question that I kept for you. From a regional developer's perspective, which micro markets in Western India show the strongest long-term growth potential today?
See, if you bottle down to Mumbai, today it's very difficult to point down a specific location because post-pandemic specifically, every single pocket has outperformed. But to bottle down, and if you want a specific answer, I feel Western suburb has been holistic right from Andheri all the way till, I would say, Mira Bhainder Daisar. You'll see that Western suburb has always outperformed in the past 10 years in terms of absorptions for two principal reasons. Western suburb I have seen mainly, including my own projects, has always been layouts, mainly. South Mumbai side, you'll see more skyscrapers coming in. So people's shift in terms of mindset, in terms of requiring more facilities, amenities, or walking spaces. So I see if you are a Western suburb lover, and overall as Western absorption in Mumbai city specifically, I have always seen Western outperforming the central and the eastern market. South Mumbai, yes, it's slightly more pricier. So sometimes it takes its own sweet time to convert into, like the TAT period is what we call. So the conversion time from typically which it used to be around a month or two has now gone up because the options have also increased. But Western, I feel, because there are larger land parcels available, good layouts available, good developers are working across the city, I've always seen that bottling down.
Thank you for sharing your perspective. And with that, I believe time's up, like the big board says over there. Thank you all, gentlemen, for joining us for this very insightful panel. And we'd like a round of applause for our esteemed panelists. Thank you.
All right, and can we also gather for a group photo op to capture the moment? Wonderful. All right, and let's present each of our panelists with a token of appreciation, our way of saying thank you from the ETNow.in Realty Conclave Awards Team 2026. These are the pioneers who are leading the urban revolution, ladies and gentlemen. I think they've really done the conversation justice by sharing the trends that are shaping Western India's realty landscape as we know it. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Wonderful. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we move forward, we now turn our attention to a critical pillar of real estate and economic growth. And that's, you guessed it, skills, employment, and entrepreneurship. And let's not miss innovation. So as the real estate sector continues to expand, its true strength lies in the talent it creates, the livelihoods it supports, and the innovation it fosters. So before we invite our guest of honor this evening for an incredibly intimate fireside chat, may I please request Ms. Shuchi Shukla, editor of TimesNow.in, to kindly come on stage and welcome our guest of honor with a token of appreciation. All right, let's have you on stage, ma'am. And now, if I could please invite our guest of honor, Shri Mangal Prabhat Lodha, Honorable Minister of Skill, Employment and Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Government of Maharashtra. A token of appreciation, please. Thank you for being here, to the Honorable Minister, and for truly raising the caliber of the event. Wonderful. All right. So now we'd like to take the opportunity to do a deep dive into a one-on-one fireside chat with the Honorable Minister himself, and it's my honor and privilege to take on this responsibility. So I'll make my way over to the podium, and I believe we've got 2 mics ready and on standby, so let's go ahead and get this started. There are many questions we have for the Minister, but to set some context and for the benefit of our audience, sir. When we talk about Maharashtra's real estate landscape, it's incredibly difficult to define the trends of the moment because the evolution and the revolution is so fast-paced. All right? So, sir, if we were to walk down memory lane for a moment, when you first started your career, all right? And to fast forward to where we are now, what are some of the most remarkable trends in the real estate sector that have taken you by surprise, in spite of your background, in spite of your mastery and knowledge of the industry, sir?
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to speak. The fact is that Mumbai is a city which welcomes everyone and give chance to everyone. Only thing is that only 5 to 7% people can pinpoint the chance and take advantage and move forward. Most of the people only remember that time it was a opportunity for me and I am not opted for it. So all those people who are sitting here are from those 5% who has realize the opportunity and encash it. What surprises me the most in Mumbai, sorry.
No problem. और आप सब लोगों के लिए, because you're that 5%, जोरदार तालियां हो जाए, please. जी बोलिए sir.
Mumbai is full of surprises, but it is the only city which is most professional, full of honest people, full of hardworking young generation, and full of dreams. Adani ji was very big, but what he is now is only after he has started in Mumbai. Ambani ji was very big, but what he is now is only when he started in Mumbai. and all of us here and all of who are listening and will listen to Times Network, if they are in business, they want to become Ambani ji and Adani ji. Yes, if they are in politics, they think of Narendra Bhai Modi ji. What I want to say is this, that this city is always give chance to people who wants to move forward and give all the basic facilities for that. Only thing is that there are no shortcuts. You have to work very hard. You have to keep a long patience. And you should have the big dreams. So for me, I have come here as actually, I was practicing in Rajasthan. My father became a High Court judge, so I have to leave that and come here. 3 years, I was doing a job of very small salary of 2,000 and then 2,200. Changes 3 jobs. Then I started my material supply business, then the flat brokerage business, and the rest is the story. But in that story, what I learned, what I want to tell, what I want to share to the young generation is that continuous effort, honest effort, and lately what I realized about Mumbai is that Mumbai appreciate the best possible things. If you are having the very good hotel, you will have the waiting list. If you have a very good project, you will be able to get your rate, and that too with the very good peoples. So there is a very big sector in the Mumbai which always look for the best thing in their life.
जी, और मंत्री जी आपने मुंबई की इतनी तारीफ जो की है, और एक दौर था जब रियल एस्टेट के एंगल से या अप्रिशिएशन के एंगल से अगर देखा जाए तो मुंबई को जन्नत माना जाता था, और आजकल चर्चा ये चल रही है कि टियर 2 और टियर इंडिया का पोटेंशियल इज इंडियाज फ्यूचर ग्रोथ स्टोरी, ना कि द मेजर मेट्रोज. आपका इसके बारे में क्या कहना है सर?
मुंबई आज भी जन्नत है, आगे भी जन्नत रहेगी. लकीली नॉट बिकॉज ही इज माई पॉलिटिकल लीडर, ही इज अवर चीफ मिनिस्टर. आई वॉन्ट टू टेल यू विद द कोर ऑफ माई हार्ट एंड वेरी ऑनेस्टली वॉन्ट टू शेयर विद यू. मैंने मेरी 35 साल की पब्लिक लाइफ में देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी जैसा कमिटेड, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव, लॉन्ग साइटेड लीडर देखा नहीं है. अभी परसों कल ही हमारी कैबिनेट थी, और कैबिनेट कल की कैबिनेट में जो एक रिजोल्यूशन पास हुआ, जो आज आपने थोड़ा बहुत न्यूज़पेपर्स में पढ़ा होगा, तो जितनी मुंबई है उस मुंबई से 3 गुना बड़ी मुंबई, थर्ड मुंबई पनवेल के आगे बन रही है. और वो केवल
क्या बात है,
वो केवल पेपर पे नहीं रहेगा. जैसा कि जब अटल सेतु बना था तब भी लोगों को ख्याल नहीं था कि ऐसा अटल सेतु बन जाएगा. जब कोस्टल रोड बनी तब भी लोगों को ख्याल नहीं आया, और आज आप सुबह के बाद 12 बजे के बाद कोई निकले होंगे तो वहाँ जो म्यूजिक बजना शुरू हुआ है, उसके बाद आपको पता लगेगा मुंबई के अंदर अभी जैसे ये एयरपोर्ट के लिए जो ट्रेन है, मेट्रो शुरू हुई है, 22-25 मिनट के अंदर आप ग्रांड रोड से एयरपोर्ट पहुंच जाते हैं. ये सब चीजें ड्रीम थी. और उसी तरह से जो थर्ड मुंबई बन रही है, ये मुंबई, थर्ड मुंबई भारत का सबसे अच्छा शहर बनेगा. इसमें सारे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, सब कुछ एम्यूनिटीज और बड़े बड़े लेआउट्स और सब कुछ जो पॉसिबल है. छोटा 5,000 मीटर का भी प्लॉट वहां पर अवेलेबल होगा और 500 एकड़ का प्लॉट भी अवेलेबल होगा. सो ये सब कुछ वहां पर अगले 3 साल के अंदर हो जाएगा. उन्होंने, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी बार बार एक बात कहते भी और उसको करवा के लेना भी उन्होंने शुरू कर दिया है कि अब मुझे 10 साल 15 साल वाले प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में सुनना भी नहीं और फॉलो भी नहीं करना है. जो प्रोजेक्ट शुरू करने के बाद आप 5 साल में खत्म कर सको, वो प्रोजेक्ट हमको लोगों के सामने लाने हैं. और 5 साल को वो हर बार घटाते जा रहे हैं. थोड़े दिनों के बाद तो आप देखेंगे कि प्रोजेक्ट शुरू होंगे और 3 साल में प्रोजेक्ट खत्म हो जाएंगे. दिस इज व्हाट वी नीड, दिस इज व्हाट मुंबई कर डिजर्व, एंड दिस इज व्हाट द एनी बेस्ट सिटी इन द वर्ल्ड wants. If they want to give the good life to their people, they want this kind of infrastructure.
क्या बात है, जोरदार तालियां. अब मंत्री जी, एक रियल एस्टेट इंडस्ट्री का रियलिटी है, उसकी एक हकीकत ये भी है कि एम्प्लॉय अट्रिशन रेट्स आर जनरली हाई सर. बहुत एम्प्लॉय टर्नओवर होता है, शायद इसलिए because a lot of developer and infrastructural families are family owned and operated multi-generation businesses. तो सरकार की ओर से हम क्या उम्मीद रख सकते हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ पॉलिसी चेंज? या तो कंट्रैक्चुअल वर्कर्स को परमानेंट बना दिया जाए या मोर फ्रेंडली प्रमोशन फ्रॉम विद इन? सर, व्हाट कैन चेंज? ऐसा हम क्या कर सकते हैं या सरकार से क्या उम्मीद रख सकते हैं सच दैट इट्स अ लेस फ्रैगमेंटेड स्पेस? आप क्या राय देना चाहेंगे?
मैं भी बिजनेस में नहीं, वही बिजनेस अभिषेक संभालता है, फिर भी जो मुझे बिजनेस का एक्सपीरियंस है उसको मैं आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहूंगा। आपने जो बताया कि बहुत ज्यादा लोग छोड़ के चले जाते हैं, करते हैं, इट्स ए फैक्ट, पर उसका कारण क्या है? उसके बहुत सारे, एक कारण तो ये भी है कि बहुत सारे बिल्डर्स, करीब करीब हर कोई आदमी अभी रियल एस्टेट में आना चाहता है
जी।
तो एक साथ में बहुत सारी रिक्वायरमेंट निकली है। दूसरा बड़ा कारण ये है कि हमारे यहाँ कोई बहुत प्रोफेशनल कोर्सेज बहुत ज्यादा अवेलेबल नहीं है और इसलिए लोग ही बहुत कम हैं। अभी किसी को लाइजन में करना हो काम तो मुंबई में लाइजन के बिना तो कोई कंपनी चलती नहीं है। जैसे आप में से कोई लोग यदि गुजरात से कनेक्टेड होंगे तो अहमदाबाद में कोई लाइजन डिपार्टमेंट ही नहीं होता है, वहां तो आर्किटेक्ट ही सब कुछ करके ले आते हैं और यहाँ लाइजन के डिपार्टमेंट के बिना कोई रियल एस्टेट कंपनी काम नहीं कर सकती है। पर लाइजन के लिए हमारे पास में कोई कोर्स अवेलेबल नहीं है। हमारे पास में सेल्स के लिए भी, रियल एस्टेट की सेल के लिए कोई कोर्स अवेलेबल नहीं है। कंस्ट्रक्शन के मैनेजमेंट के लिए थोड़े बहुत कोर्सेज अवेलेबल हैं। तो अब धीमे धीमे ये वैसे सेकंड बिगेस्ट जॉब गिवर है कंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनी, कंस्ट्रक्शन फील्ड, पर इसके बाद भी इसके अंदर अभी तक कोई ऑर्गेनाइज वे के अंदर कोर्सेज शुरू नहीं हुए हैं और इसके लिए ये जो टर्न अराउंड है वो आप देख रहे हैं। और उसमें एक ये भी हो गया है कि लोग प्रोजेक्ट पहले ले लेते हैं, कंपनी बाद में बनाते हैं और इसलिए प्रोजेक्ट लेने के बाद में अभी कंस्ट्रक्शन करना है तो लाओ इसका आदमी उठा के लिया, ये कंपनी अच्छी चल रही है। रियल एस्टेट करना है, लाइजन करना है तो किसी ऑफिसर से पूछ लेते हैं भाई कौन कौन अच्छे आदमी है, तो वो बता देता है कि ये आदमी अच्छा है, ये आदमी अच्छा है, तो उनकी टीम लग जाती है उसको टेप करने के लिए। और आज कोई भी क्या करेगा, यदि आपके पास में अभी आप किसी को 5 लाख का पैकेज दे रहे हैं और यदि सामने वाला उसको कहेगा कि 15 लाख रुपया दो पर तुम मेरे पास में आ जाओ, तो कोई अपने यहाँ पर वो अमेरिका की तरह कमिटमेंट तो रहता नहीं है कि भाई एक बार मैंने कर दिया है तो अभी मैं नहीं छोड़ के जाऊंगा। तो ये चलता रहेगा, इसको वी हैव टू फेस विद इट। ओनली थिंग इज दैट वी शुड गिव गुड फैसिलिटी टू अवर स्टाफ, वी शुड ट्रीट देम एज ए एसोसिएट एंड उनको भी ये विश्वास होना चाहिए कि यहाँ पर लॉन्ग रन के अंदर हमारा फ्यूचर, दूसरी कंपनी में चेंज ओवर करने जाएंगे तो भी यहाँ पर हमारा अच्छा रहेगा।
जी, और सर यही मुद्दा कुछ ही देर पहले उठा था कि अगर मुंबई को ग्रो करना है, एक्सपैंड करना है तो रीडेवलपमेंट के अलावा कोई रास्ता नहीं है। पर सर रीडेवलपमेंट का सबसे बड़ा शायद चैलेंज या दिक्कत ये होगी लैक ऑफ ट्रस्ट एंड ट्रांसपेरेंसी। सर कई बार बात यहाँ अटक जाती है कि इससे सोसाइटी मेंबर्स, चाहे सेक्रेटरी हो या चेयरमैन हो या ट्रेजरर हो, उनको अंदर ही अंदर कोई फायदे मिल रहे हैं इसलिए वो इस बिल्डर का साथ देंगे ना कि उसका, वगैरह वगैरह। तो जो ऑर्डिनरी टेनेंट है सर, उसके पास एक लैक ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, एक लैक ऑफ विजिबिलिटी है। इसको लेके आप क्या राय देना चाहेंगे? सोल्यूशन क्या है सर, जिससे कि अगर मैं एक बिल्डिंग में रह रही हूं, मेरा उतना हक है उस डिसीजन में अपना शेप देने का?
नहीं, मुझे अभी आपके 3-4 सवाल के बाद में आपसे एक सवाल करना पड़ेगा कि आप टाइम्स नेटवर्क से आई हैं कि आप कोई रियल एस्टेट कंपनी को बिलोंग करती हैं? आपको सब अंदर की स्टोरियां पता है
जी।
तो ऐसा है कि ये तो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज रीडेवलपमेंट के लिए, यस आप जो बता रही हैं वो भी इंटरनल प्रॉब्लम्स, लाइजनिंग, ये सब लाइकिंग्स, ये सब चलता रहता है, पर मेरे ख्याल से वो बहुत छोटा सा इश्यू है। मेन इश्यू इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का है। मुंबई जब बना था तो मुंबई बना था बंगलोज के लिए, मुंबई बना था, बहुत कुछ बना तो ग्राउंड+1 ग्राउंड+2 की चाली के लिए। अभी वो ग्राउंड+2 की चाली, रोड वही रह गई, ड्रेनेज वही रह गया, वाटर सप्लाई सिस्टम वही रह गया, पार्किंग वही रह गया, फुटपाथ वही रह गए और ग्राउंड+2 की चाली बाद के अंदर ग्राउंड+7 की बिल्डिंग में कन्वर्ट हो गई। और अभी पिछले 4 सालों के बाद में, 4 सालों से तो ग्राउंड+7 की बिल्डिंग अभी ग्राउंड+25 और ग्राउंड+30 की बनती जा रही है। तो इसका एंड क्या आने वाला है? ये तो ना तो रोड बड़ी हो रही है, ना कोई और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बड़ा हो रहा है, तो वो रियल चैलेंज है। और ये आगे आने वाले समय में इतना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा कि वो लोगों को घर तो बहुत अच्छा दिखेगा पर थोड़े दिनों के बाद में ऐसा मन होगा कि घर के बाहर निकलूं ही नहीं, घर के छोटे कॉर्नर में लैपटॉप लगा के वहीं से मैं ऑफिस चलाऊं तो ज्यादा अच्छा है, सप्ताह में कम से कम 2-3 दिन तो। क्योंकि ये ट्रैवलिंग इतनी ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी, ट्रैफिक की प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी। हमारी सरकार ने एक अच्छा काम किया, कॉन्क्रीटाइजेशन ऑफ रोड किया, पर उससे रोड की क्वालिटी सुधर सकती है, रोड की कैरिंग कैपेसिटी नहीं सुधर सकती। और कुछ हमारे लोगों की आदत भी है, अभी कोई भी रोड ऐसी नहीं है कि जिसकी कम से कम 1 लेन या 2 लेन पार्किंग में बंद नहीं रहती है। यदि वो पार्किंग की गाड़ियां जो पब्लिक पार्किंग अवेलेबल है, 25,000 से ज्यादा पब्लिक पार्किंग मुंबई शहर के अंदर और मुंबई के विभिन्न इलाकों में खाली पड़ी है, पर हम लंदन अमेरिका में जाएंगे तो 200 मीटर दूर अपनी गाड़ी लगा के आएंगे और रूल के हिसाब से चलेंगे, पर यहाँ तो हमको घर के बाहर ही गाड़ी लगानी है। तो वो जो रोड की कैरिंग कैपेसिटी कम हो गई है और सारा ये इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पूरा कमजोर हो चुका है, इसका कोई इलाज किसी के पास में नहीं है। भगवान श्री राम भी एक बार वापस आ जाए वनवास के बाद धरती पर, तो वो भी कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो इसके लिए तो मुंबई के बाहर 3rd मुंबई बनाना, मुंबई के बाहर डेवलपमेंट करना, और उसको लोग वहाँ यदि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अच्छा है तो जैसे अपन देख रहे हैं दिल्ली का आप एग्जाम्पल ले लो, दिल्ली बहुत सुंदर थी, पर दिल्ली दिल वालों की, पर दिल्ली जब नोएडा बन गया तो लोग नोएडा को दिल्ली से भी ज्यादा प्रीफर करते हैं, क्योंकि वहाँ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सारा आ गया। ऐसा जो भी माननीय देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी 3rd मुंबई बना रहे हैं, उसका यदि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बहुत अच्छा आ गया और साथ में जॉब क्रिएशन भी आ गया। नवी मुंबई उस समय बहुत साल पहले बना था, पर वो इतना सक्सेस इसलिए नहीं हुआ कि वहाँ जॉब क्रिएशन साथ में नहीं था। तो यदि अभी जो माननीय देवेंद्र फडणवीस सोच रहे हैं, उसमें जितना वहां पर लोग रहने को आ रहे हैं उतना ही वहां पर जॉब क्रिएशन भी हो रहा है, वॉक टू वर्क वाले सिस्टम के अंदर। तो ये 3rd मुंबई वाला कंसेप्ट यदि सक्सेस होगा तो ये जो शहर में रहने वाले पुराने लोग हैं उनकी लाइफ भी अच्छी होगी।
क्या बात है। और मंत्री जी, जो हमारे ऑडियंस में रियल एस्टेट में इन्वेस्ट करने की सोच रहे हैं, शायद उनके सामने 2 रास्ते हैं या 2 तरह की सोच हो सकती है। एक शायद ये कि आई मिस द मोमेंट, वो मौका गया, मैंने गवा दिया, इट्स टू लेट। और शायद दूसरी सोच ये हो कि जब जागो तब सवेरा। आप इन दोनों सोच में से किस में ज्यादा यकीन रखते हैं?
नहीं, अभी क्या ट्रेंड चल रहा है मुझे मालूम नहीं है, पर मुझे बेसिकली लगता है कि इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए जिसको भी करना होता है उसके लिए शेयर मार्केट बेस्ट होता है। आपको ज्यादा से ज्यादा सेकंड हाउस के लिए, रेंटल इनकम के लिए तो रियल एस्टेट ठीक नहीं, पर अभी मैं लूंगा और 2 साल के बाद बेच दूंगा, तो वो समय अभी कोई मेरे हिसाब से तो चला गया है, क्योंकि इतनी ज़्यादा सप्लाई है, इतनी ज़्यादा अपॉर्चुनिटीज है, इतनी ज़्यादा बढ़ रहा है कि आपको बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ उसमें से बेनिफिट मिलेगा क्या? आप रजिस्ट्रेशन कराओगे, वापस कैंसिलेशन कराओगे, ये करोगे, वो करोगे, ब्रोकरेज दोगे, इसकी बजाय तो एक हाउस खुद के लिए रखो, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा एक सेकेंड हाउस रख लो। इसके अलावा बहुत ज़्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट करना, हालांकि मैं एक रियल एस्टेट कंपनी से बिलोंग करता हूं, मेरी ब्रेड एंड बटर रियल एस्टेट कंपनी से चलती है, इसलिए अगेंस्ट माई बिजनेस है, फिर भी सच बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर। हाँ, थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग दैट। हाँ, और सर एक आखिरी सवाल आपके लिए, सिर्फ आखिरी सवाल। सर अगर आपको एक ही लाइन में जवाब देना हो, मुंबई के लिए आगे की दौर में आपका क्या विजन है सर? मुंबई रियल एस्टेट एज वी नो इट क्या बदलेगा और क्या वैसा का वैसा ही रहेगा, और आपका कंट्रीब्यूशन?
मुंबई का रियल एस्टेट तो कितना बदलेगा मुझे मालूम नहीं है, पर रियल एस्टेट के लोगों को जरूर बदलना चाहिए। कैसे बदलना चाहिए?
क्या
तो
बात है।
मैं 2 बातें जरूर सबसे शेयर करना चाहूंगा। सॉरी फॉर इट।
नो प्रॉब्लम सर।
एक तो मैं जो भी रियल एस्टेट के लोग बैठे हैं यहाँ पर, उन सबको मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि बिजनेस के अलावा भी एक लाइफ होती है, और इसलिए आप कहीं न कोई रोल ऐसा करिए कि जहां पर आप में कुछ आपको पावर सीट मिलती हो। जैसे कि कुछ नहीं होगा तो अपनी सोसाइटी का चेयरमैन बनिए, अपने क्लब के चेयरमैन बनिए, जिस क्लब में भी आप जाते हैं। रियल एस्टेट के किसी में जाइए, अपने जिस कम्युनिटी से बिलोंग करते हैं उस कम्युनिटी के अंदर कुछ आप पद बनिए, क्योंकि आज के समय के अंदर बिना पावर के आपका रिकॉग्नाइजेशन बहुत कुछ ज्यादा होता नहीं है। पैसे तो आपके पास बहुत रह जाएंगे, पर पैसे वो आपके पास ही रह जाएंगे। जब आपके पास पावर आता है, आप लोगों में मिक्स होते हैं, तो ही आपकी सक्सेस रेट बढ़ती है। तो मेरा मानना है कि रियल एस्टेट के लोगों को आने वाले समय में पब्लिक से ज्यादा मिक्स होना, पब्लिक प्लेटफॉर्म पे ज्यादा जाना और अपने आप को ज्यादा एसर्ट करना, ये 3 चीजें करने के बाद ही हम लोग सरकार के साथ में हमारे पर्सनल संबंध होने चाहिए। सरकार राइट है कि रॉन्ग है, सरकार होती है और किंग इज ऑलवेज राइट। और इसके लिए अदर देन बिजनेस भी आपके यदि अधिकारियों से और लोगों से संबंध है तो ही आप रियल एस्टेट के अंदर दूसरों से आपकी लाइन थोड़ी अलग और बड़ी खींच पाएंगे.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shri Mangal Prabhat Lodha, the Honorable Minister. Huge round of applause, please. सर, हम चाहेंगे आप हमारे साथ जुड़े रहें. All right. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister is with us. Some inspiring words from him. And we're going to have him join us for this next set of awards. So I ask that you bear with me for just one moment as we unveil the winners. One moment. All right. I've just gotten my hands on the list. Before we continue, a huge round of applause once more for our guest of honor. And it's going to be incredibly special to receive the award from him, especially. So with that, we're saluting excellence, we're celebrating stalwarts across the real estate sector, and this next category absolutely does this platform justice, and that is Residential Property of the Year, ladies and gentlemen. And for this particular award, I'm going to announce the project along with the company. So Residential Property of the Year, the project is Jade Park, ladies and gentlemen, by MICL. So if I could please have Mr. Manan Shah, Managing Director of MICL Group, approach the stage to receive the award from the Honorable Minister. Congratulations once again to the entire Jade Park team. Wonderful. And with that, we move on to the next category, ladies and gentlemen, which is Excellence in Luxury Redeveloper of the Year. And it's for the project H. Rishabh Raj Aviana. So if I could please have Mr. Harish Kumar Jain, the founder and managing director, on stage. That's right. Congratulations once again. Excellence in Luxury Redeveloper of the Year. And we move on to the next category, ladies and gentlemen, and that is Most Promising Integrated Development. That's right, Most Promising Integrated Development, and the project that takes away the honors is SP Kingston of Pune. So can we please have the team on stage that joins us from Shapurji Bollanji Real Estate. We've got Mr. Gaurav Bhutani, National Head, Business Development and Corporate Planning, Mr. Arvind Singhal, Lead Marketing, and Rishabh Kandar, GM Business Development and Corporate Planning. And with that, we move on to the next category, which is Excellence in Delivery, ladies and gentlemen. And in this category, Excellence in Delivery, the project that walks away with top honors is Chandak Group. So can we please have Mr. Rahul Doifode, Deputy General Manager Planning, Mr. Kamlesh Kalgudkar, Deputy Manager Projects, and Mr. Saurabh Patel, Senior Manager Marketing of Chandak Group, kindly do join us on stage to receive the award. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is for Excellence in Delivery, and it goes to Chandak Group. Congratulations once again. All the more special to receive the award by the Honorable Minister. And with that, we move on to Excellence in Luxury Project of the Year. And ladies and gentlemen, in this category, Excellence in Luxury Project of the Year, it goes to the project One Lux Veena Insignia. So can we have the Veena Developers team on stage to please receive the honor? If we could have Mrs. Avni Sanghvi and Mr. Nikunj Sanghvi, both directors at Veena Developers, receive the award. All right. With that, we move on to our next category, ladies and gentlemen. We're keeping them swift, keeping them coming. Exceptional Project of the Year. And it goes to 25 Downtown, 25 Residences. So again, if we could have the 25 Residences team on stage. We've got Mr. Rupam De, Head of Marketing and Brand, and Anaida, CCO. Rukumani Sen, Chairman Officer at Hubtown. Let's have the team on stage, please. Exceptional Project of the Year. With that, we move on. The next is All right. We'll move on to the next category, ladies and gentlemen, which is Excellence in Redevelopment Projects, and it goes to Sumit Group. So can we please have Ms. Amruta Jamid, Head of Marketing and Branding Operations with Sumit Group, and Mr. Sanket Sakpal from Sumit Group kindly approach the stage in receiving the honor. Again, this is for Excellence in Redevelopment Projects. Next is iconic project in Western Suburbs. And it's for the project Link Bay Residency by Adani Realty. So if you could please have Mr. Rajiv Dash, HOD of Sales and Marketing, Adani Realty, kindly approach the stage to receive the honor. Congratulations. All right, we move on to Excellence in Construction Quality, Western Suburbs. And the winner in this category, Excellence in Construction Quality, Western Suburbs, is Mesicon Group. So can we please have the Mesicon Group team on stage? Mr. Vikram Mehta, Director of Mesicon Group and President of VDA Group. Let's please have them on stage. And with that, we move on to Residential Project of the Year. And the winner is, for Residential Project of the Year, Bhumi Lakescape. And the group, congratulations once again to Bhumi Lakescape and the Bhumi Group at large. If we could please have the director, Mr. Samarth Doshi, on stage to accept the honor. All right. With that, we move on to our next category, which is Excellence in Thematic Project. And it goes to the project Mayfair, codename Coral Mira Road by Mayfair Housing. So let's please have Mr. Nitin Nagpal, Chief of Sales and Marketing, on stage to kindly receive the honor. Excellence in Thematic Project. And with that, we move on to Ultra Luxury Project of the Year, ladies and gentlemen. And it goes to the project The Legend by Usher. And this is by the Usher Group, of course. So if we could please have Miss Ayushi Usher, Director of Usher Group, on stage to receive the award. Is the Usher Group here, please, to receive the coveted honor? Congratulations once again. All right. And now we move on to Excellence in Plotted Developments. And it goes to the project Lords of the Lands by Lords of the Land. So could we please have Mr. Girish Chalmania, co-founder, on stage to receive the honor. Congratulations once again. This is for Excellence in Plotted Developments. With that, we move on to Developer of the Year, Western Suburbs. And the winner is RNANG. So if we could please have the CEO, Hari Nair, on stage. Can we please have Mr. Hari on stage to receive the honor? Again, from RNANG for Developer of the Year, Western Suburbs. And with that, we move on to Luxury Project of the Year. And it goes to the project Aradhya Avan by MICL. So if we could, a repeat winner tonight, if we could have Mr. Manan Shah, Managing Director of MICL Group, on stage to receive the honor. And with that, we move on, ladies and gentlemen. The next category is Excellence in Mid-Segment Homes. And it goes to Shikara Constructions. So if we could please have Mr. Ashok Mehra, Managing Director at Shikara Constructions, on stage to receive the honor. This is, again, Excellence in Mid-Segment Homes. With that, we move on to the next category, ladies and gentlemen, which is Developer of the Year, and it goes to L&T Realty. So if we could please have Vishnu Priya Narayan, Head of Communication with L&T Realty, accept the honor, Developer of the Year. And with that, we move on, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and we'll move on to Excellence in Commercial Project Developer. And for that, it goes to the project Millennium Towers, Pune, by Phoenix Mills Limited. So if we could please have Mr. Vittal Suryavanshi, CEO, Commercial Real Estate, Daksh Kapoor, Director, Commercial Leasing at Phoenix Mills Limited, Kishore Hedadu, Vice President, Operations at the Phoenix Mills Limited, all join us on stage in receiving the honor. And with that, we move on to our next category, which is Excellence in Redevelopment of MHADA Projects. And it goes to GNV Infra. Let's have the team on stage. Can we have Mr. Vinay Gopal Singh, Managing Director, GNV Infrastructure, on stage to receive the honor? Thank you. The Honorable Minister has limited time with us, so we're getting through the awards a bit swiftly, but congratulations nonetheless. With that, we move on to Excellence in Construction Quality, and it goes to Raghav Realty. So if we could please have Mr. Pradeep G. Bansal, Director, on stage to receive the honor. Congratulations once again to the entire Raghav Realty team. And with that, we move on to our next category, which is Excellence in Customer-Centric Developer. And it goes to Empire Realty. So if we could please have Mr. Sahil Virani, Director at Empire Realty, join us on stage in receiving the honor, Excellence in Customer-Centric Developer. And with that, we move on to Excellence in Upcoming Project Under Construction. And it goes to Inspira One, the Inspira Group. So Mr. Ashish Mehra, Head of Marketing, could kindly join us on stage in accepting this honor. Again, it's Excellence in Upcoming Project Under Construction. All right. With that, we'll move on to Promising Developer for Mid-Segment Projects. And it goes to AVA Life Spaces. So can we please have Mr. Alok Chaube, promoter, and Mr. Vijay Tripathi, also promoter at AVA Life Spaces, kindly take the stage. That's right, Promising Developer for Mid-Segment Projects. All right, with that we move on to our next category, ladies and gentlemen, which is Super Luxury Project Completed, Western Suburbs. And it goes to the project Mirchandani Triton by the Mirchandani Group. So if we could please have Mr. Aditya Mirchandani, VP Projects, Director, Mirchandani Group, Sahil Mirchandani, also Director, kindly join us on stage in accepting the honor. That's right, Super Luxury Project Completed, Western Suburbs. And with that, we move on to Excellence in Real Estate Visionaries. And it goes to Panchanad Group. So can we please have Mr. Rohan Vadalkar and Miss Rutu Vadalkar, partners with Panchanad Group, kindly join us on stage in accepting this recognition from the Honorable Minister himself. And that brings us to our next category, which is Iconic Developer of the Year. And we've got a repeat winner once again, ladies and gentlemen, MICL. So we could have Mr. Manan Shah, Managing Director at MICL Group, back on stage to receive the honor from the Minister himself. Excellent. And with that, we move on to our next category, Luxury Residential Project of the Year, Thane. And it goes to the project Purva Panorama from the Purvankara Group. So if we could please have Mr. Rajat Rastogi, CEO, Western Commercial Assets, Pan India, and Mr. Suraj Singh, VP, Head of Marketing West. Kindly do join us on stage from the Purvankara Group to accept the honor, Luxury Residential Project of the Year, Thane. And we'll move on to our next category, which is, ladies and gentlemen, Excellence in Leading Ad Agency in Real Estate. And it goes to Pranav Publicity. So let's have the team on stage, including Mr. Pranav Gandhi, proprietor himself from Pranav Publicity. Huge congratulations once again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is for Excellence in Leading Ad Agency in Real Estate. And with that, we move on to our next category, which is Excellence in Commercial Project Navi Mumbai. And it goes to the project Cyber Square by Greenscape Group. So we could please have Mr. Suresh Ovavia, CEO and MD, Greenscape Group, and Ali Rangoonwala, advisor to Suresh Vadia. Kindly join us on stage from the Greenscape Group to accept this incredibly coveted honor. And with that, we move on to our next, which is Excellence in Leading Firefighting Systems. And it goes to the project C-Sex Firefighters. And if we could please have Mr. Ketan Parekh and Mr. Vipul Gusalia and Mr. Pranav Gandhi, all partners with C-Sex Firefighters, join us on stage in receiving the honor. Just a few more awards to go, ladies and gentlemen, but critical ones. Congratulations to the entire team. All right, can we please move on to the next category, which is Innovative Marketing Campaign. And it goes to the project Bandra Bay by Lighthouse Luxury. So if we could please have Mr. Sumesh Mishra, founder, Lighthouse Luxury, plus Murtuza Papiwala, co-founder, on stage to accept the honor from the minister himself. And with that, we move on to our next category, which is Luxury Project of the Year. And it goes to the project Suji Seacrest. If we could have the Suji Group team on stage, that is Mr. Jitendra Raval, partner, and Prasanna Karnik, director, both joining us from the Suji Group. This is for Luxury Project of the Year. All right. And for the project, Suji Seacrest. With that, we move on to our next category, ladies and gentlemen, which is legendary woman leader in Indian real estate. And for this highly coveted category, legendary woman leader in Indian real estate, it's my honor and pleasure to please welcome Dr. Ketki Kasbekar. So ladies and gentlemen, she's pioneering real estate leader, an author and a champion of women's leadership with 26 plus years of experience, excellence, 3 doctorates, and impactful roles with MCA, Niti Aayog, and Naredko. She truly inspires change. Huge round of applause. Thank you so much to Dr. Ketki Kasbekar, legendary woman leader in Indian real estate. All right. And with that, we move on to Luxury Developer of the Year, and it goes to Tribeca Developers, ladies and gentlemen. So if we could please have Snehal Kannade, Vice President Design, Tribeca Developers, please come on stage to receive this highly coveted honor. All right. Just a few more awards to go, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Congratulations to the entire Tribeca Developers team. All right, with that we move on to excellence in landscape and outdoor design, and it goes to ESI Design Studio. So can we please have the team on stage? They are, of course, a design-led practice dedicated to excellence in landscape and outdoor environment design with a distinguished presence in Dubai and Mumbai. Founded by Jinesh Sanghvi and Ekta Chadwa, the studio is known for crafting refined, timeless outdoor spaces that seamlessly blend design, nature, and experience with exceptional attention to detail and quality. All right, just a few more to go. Our next is Excellence in Real Estate Advisory. So can we please have the M-Space Realty team on stage to accept the honor from Shri Mangal Prabhat Lodha himself. An icon in real estate and a public figure. Doesn't get better than that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, with that we move on to our next category, which is India's iconic real estate brand, and it goes to Rosewalt Realty. Can we have the Rosewalt Realty team on stage, please? All right, and with that we move on to excellence in upcoming project under construction, which goes to Inspira, won by the Inspira Group. Can we have Ashish Mehra, Head of Marketing, on stage to receive the honor, please? Congratulations once again to all of our winners. Please give yourselves a huge round of applause. We truly salute you, and we appreciate the excellence and the new benchmarks you bring to the industry. And a final round of applause for our guest of honor, Shri Mangal Prabhat Lodha. Wonderful. All right, thank you so much. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the close of the ETNow.in Realty Conclave Awards West Edition, it's clear that today has been about more than just buildings and balance sheets. It's been about vision, responsibility, and the future of our cities. So we've heard from leaders like yourselves who are shaping skylines, who are influencing policy and driving innovation by building communities that will define how India lives, works, and grows in the years ahead. So a special thank you to all of our partners for their unwavering support. Again, we're powered by Adani Ambuja Cement. Our home loan partner is LIC Housing Finance Limited. Our online realty consultant partner is Roof and Floor. Our celebration partner is Radico, Spirit of Excellence. Our digital outdoor partner, Add-on Mo, and our publicity partner, Pranav Publicity. But thank you to all of you for making this platform meaningful and impactful. Because, you know, our audience, whether it be developers, architects, planners, investors, and industry professionals, we thank you for being such an incredibly warm, welcoming, and well-informed audience and a part of today's conversations. So as Western India continues its ascent as a real estate powerhouse, one thing is clear: the future belongs to those who build with purpose, innovation, and sustainability at the core. So we formally conclude the ETNow.in Realty Conclave Awards West Edition. We ask that you kindly please do join us for dinner and have a lovely evening ahead. Thank you so much.